All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. David Patrick Carey with Church of the Eternal Logos. And today I am joined by friend, researcher extraordinaire, Anthony Westgate. How you doing, brother?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Looking forward to diving into a subject that people really don't want to hear about. So it's good we're covering this.
Yeah, no, I reached out to you because I've been wanting to do another stream with you for a minute. And we were talking a little bit about what topic should we cover? Because you, like myself, cover a wide variety of topics. It's not it's sort of the same genre all the time, although anyways. So we were talking about what should we cover today? And you mentioned, well, I mentioned to you, I really like what you're doing with dead internet theory, because I totally think that is really the case in regards to the state of the internet right now. And most people, there's the rhetoric, oh yeah, it's probably bots, but most people really haven't looked into the state of the situation. And maybe that's what I was wanting for us to then dive into today. So, and you did something, and I apologize. I haven't been able to catch up on the stream. You were just talking backstage about basically a bot cult. So we're going to get into that as well. Some of the people in the audience may have already watched your stream, but why don't we introduce a little bit? And here first, before we shill anything, go subscribe to Anthony's Substack. Go ahead and shill whatever you want to shill before we get going.
Yeah, I mean, Substack has been my home for good 4 years now. I just kind of started on YouTube about this time last year, so things are just starting up there as the internet's dying exponentially, I guess. But yeah, I do similar streams to you, deep dives, occasional kind of one-off current thing commentary that I'm trying to get away from, but right. You can follow me on either platform. Substack's probably best because I like that it actually updates your content via email inbox. So you get to bypass all these algorithms we're talking about and appear directly in the inbox. And from there, they could decide if they want to click it or not. But it's showing up in that sacred space of the email inbox.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The coveted email. As a content creator, that's the most prized possession we can have of you subjects out there watching us e-divas, is if we can get your email, we can get direct contact to you.
yeah.
Bypass these social media platforms and the algorithms, which we're going to be talking about today. So, Anthony, do you think, let's start by, in case anyone watching, I would imagine the vast majority of the audience is already aware, but what is dead internet theory?
Yeah, it started as a conspiracy theory on this fringe message board back in, I believe, around 2021.
Yeah. On Agora Road. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Agora Road. And, it was just kind of this whole speculative theory that the internet is being outpaced by in growth with content and accounts and everything by bots. And it really didn't leave the realm of fringe conspiracy theory until a couple years ago, when all of these really prominent internet research organizations started discovering, like, whoa, okay, like you were mentioning before we went live, there's an infamous bad bot report, it's called. So bad bot is an internet research group, and they found, this was 2 years ago in 2024, they found that we had just passed the threshold of over half of the content online is generated by bots, by AI.
Right.
And now we're at the point where it's like closer to 60%. And this was 2 years later. So there's an exponential growth curve in how much of the content that we encounter online is just literally fake.
Right.
And this is in all realms of the internet, as I'm sure everyone tuned in is experiencing, especially, social media, and obviously no exception there. And then it's like kind of seen as like, social media is kind of seen as like the last human realm of communications online. And it's not even the case anymore. It's experiencing the same thing that you're seeing with the general web. I mean, even there is some really startling data on this. Like, it's something like 73% of new websites are AI. So
Wow.
even new websites, like any new content that's being created on the web, this is not even social media, just on the web, is AI.
Wow.
On the web, this is not even.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, there's an internet glitch or something. It just cut out.
The bots are getting us.
Wouldn't be the first time. See, every time I touch my mic, I got this new Shure mic and it mutes.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy the amount of bottification of the internet. And part of what we're going to be getting into is the larger consequences of what all this means. And we were talking backstage about how one thing we don't realize, and it's affecting, this conversation is going to spread, has a lot of tentacles I hope that we touch on. But one of them is how this is actually affecting you guys. So it's very easy to conceptualize the fact that, oh yeah, there's a bunch of bots, people are creating agents, AI agents, and they're doing stuff. But again, that Thales bad bot report highlighted that out of all the internet traffic, the vast majority of internet traffic is bot to bot or AI to AI. It's not human to human. And so how does this affect you guys is, one, that's also being influenced by the algorithm. And you can see it right now happening on the internet of a sort of groupthink, and that people watching right now, myself included, Anthony, we're all being influenced by the algorithm to focus on certain issues, to think about certain issues through certain ways. And then if you're a content creator, getting a feedback dopamine loop based on engagement or likes or comments. And pretty soon, you're operating in a artificial reality, and you begin focusing on things purely for engagement. And in many ways, you begin to act more and more like a bot being driven or programmed for higher and higher engagement. And people are losing their critical thinking. People are becoming more polarized. People are more influential than ever before. And so this ecosystem, this online environment that we're talking about, has real ramifications. And theologically speaking, it's very much sort of opposition to orthodoxy. We've talked about the theology of personhood so many times, and that true personal interaction is face to face. And we're increasingly moving into a world where face to face conversations, engagement is actually threatening for many people. And we can go anywhere with today's conversation, but for young men, for example, talking to women, why is there such a stigma and an anxiety for face-to-face engagement with the opposite sex? Well, it's because most engagement comes from behind a screen, and people are not actually fully developing themselves as humans. And in that sense, I don't mean to be so dramatic or overly generalized, but people are becoming more bot-like. That's the whole phenomenon of the NPC. And it's not just because we think we're not normies or we're right wing or we have the right political views. That doesn't mean that we ourselves aren't in ways being influenced to becoming more like an NPC, or that our behavior, our reactions are becoming more and more predictable like a machine.
Yeah, we're talking about a majority of the content and accounts that we see online, especially in
Tristan said, "See the bot you want to see in the world."
Yeah. If more than half of the content and accounts that we encounter online are fake, whether we know it or not, that's going to condition the other minority, which is humans, to behave that way in order to compete with the algorithm. You have to behave like a bot. You have to engage with whatever the algorithm is promoting. You have to play that game, and that kind of shapes your whole persona online, or your characteristics, your behaviors. It's interesting when you look at these communities online like Reddit and 4chan. They have kind of this like general personality, right? There's like a persona you have to adopt to communicate on these platforms. And that in a sense is like what we're talking about is happening. Like that's been going on the internet for a while. It's almost like the nature of the internet. And now that's all being accelerated. So even if you're not in these like echo chamber online forums, you think you're more free and open to discuss like whatever you want on social media because it's it's an open exchange of ideas or whatever.
Right.
But really it's just an algorithmically generated echo chamber that you're surrounding yourself with. And you're becoming an NPC to kind of tap into the engagements with that. Yeah,
and it is a sort of depersoning, right?
Yeah.
So this idea of moving towards the avatar or having your online avatar, one of the things that in preparation a little bit for today's stream with Anthony, I was just looking up and we were talking backstage, is that Meta has an official program on Facebook and Instagram where if you're a content creator, you can create an AI generated avatar where people can message back and forth which they think they're talking to you, but it's actually your AI bot that Meta has provided for you. And again, what does that mean? We are living in an environment right now, and I was talking with you about thumbnails and the utilization of AI, and I myself am guilty as well. I was paying, for thumbnails from a guy, and it got very expensive to post clips and shorts and live streams. And I don't have Photoshop, but it's not my skill set. And so I started to use ChatGPT and then running multiple prompts, trying to create thumbnails, which make it a lot easier. It saves money. But even that, dead internet theory isn't just bot to bot communication. Part of the theory is that the internet is going to be saturated with AI itself. And in a sense, I'm contributing to that through the thumbnail, even for today's stream at some degree, that the engagement, the content that we as humans are ingesting, whether it be these YouTube videos. I know you guys have seen them, these YouTube AI videos that have actually sometimes really interesting graphics, clearly an AI script being done that's being voiced over by some AI. And how many YouTube channels just put out that type of content? And notice that the algorithm doesn't really ultimately hinder that. There's a lot of successful channels that just put out AI generated content. And what does that mean for our ingestion of ideas? What does that mean for our development as individuals, that we're constantly consuming the AI? We're consuming the AI sometimes in, through video formats, through writing formats. The AIs are the new search engines. So I haven't used Google or a search engine in such a long time. You just put it into an AI and then ask for a link. So this is a phenomenon that is, it's like a shadow that's being casted over the entire online interaction, and this 1990s hope that the internet is going to liberate us and it's going to allow us to create these human communities where human flourishing will move forward in the 21st century. It seems to be the opposite. It seems like we're being siloed. Like I've talked to you guys recently that my YouTube channel went through some weird period on YouTube here where for 28 days, which is considered like one billing cycle on YouTube, my channel was not recommended to people who were non-subscribers. So basically what YouTube can do with the algorithm is silo you to your limited community. And again, all of the algorithms and the AI and the bots and the monitoring, the Palantir, the technocracy that's being built around us, all of it is dehumanizing and depersonalizing us to a very significant degree. And we then are contributing to that more or less, depending on, the actions you're taking, how much you consume AI content.
Yeah, there's a link I posted in the private chat. That's the Science Direct one, if you want to pull that up.
Sure.
And that's a study last year. This is August of last year, where they kind of coined this term, synthetic consensus.
Yes.
And it's about
this one right here. This article?
No, the Science Direct.
Consensus.
It's like an academic.
Here we go. Okay, accept cookies. Consensus effect on social media, synthetic influence groups on scale-free networks. Opinion model to investigate synthetic majorities and content filtering algorithms. Filtering algorithms shape public opinion by amplifying selected content. And we all see this. We see this, what's going on online, and we can see how every week, everyone's being influenced. There's a sort of groupthink, and I'm not even trying to, play sides regarding the latest drama between, Andrew and Candace, but look at the internet. Look how everything unfolds. Look how people act like NPCs, and they're totally controlled by, this online drama or this back and forth, and they choose sides, and then they constantly defending one side or the other. It's very interesting how this is influencing everyone.
Yeah, it is. And you look at even like the replies in these posts, and people are making these AI skits.
Yes,
exactly. To like influence, like, oh yeah, like Candace owned Andrew, and like here's a skit to illustrate that, like an AI slop skit.
Yep.
And that's the case for everything. This isn't exclusive to that. It's just that's the current thing. But it's like what people are imagining and can't put into words, they can now make this hyper realistic depiction of it to like what's more powerful to influence public opinion. Like even if it's a goofy skit or whatever, that's worked very well. I mean, that's like what propaganda posters were trying to do in the early 20th century. It was like they were cartoon form, and now it's just hyper realistic.
Right. I mean, you're literally engaging with the propaganda now.
Yeah.
Right. You could be going back and forth with a bot online or some AI agent. You have no idea. And then you're getting hot and bothered, your emotions, whether they build you up. Maybe they compliment you, or you're arguing back and forth with something. It's like, again, it's a total waste of human energy, something that we don't have infinite energy. Eventually your energy is going to run out, and that's called the day you die. So the fact that we're so controlled and influenced by this digital system, most of us are not aware. And this is what we mean by the death of the internet is, one, the original, the creative, the truly human aspect of online communities and online interaction seems to be dwindling. And it seems to be getting harder. At least I feel like, generally speaking, from my experience, and I've talked with a few people, that doing educational content, I felt like it was easier to do educational content like 3 years ago than today, because so many people are focused on conflict, debate, drama, reaction, stuff like this, reaction videos, talking about people. And, when that is the majority of what you consume, you're actually losing critical thinking skills. And that means, in a way, we're dehumanizing ourselves through this constant pursuit of chasing the tail of the algorithm, or what the hottest thing is.
Yeah, it's tell me what to think. I mean, that's what everyone's doing with their favorite influencer. It's like, oh, I'm going to form my opinion around what my favorite e-celeb has determined is the right take, right?
Right.
Yeah, and this is this gets into a little bit of the Electra cult, which is a whole other rabbit hole, but it's basically this AI generated religious doomsday cult that is spreading what people are calling climate propaganda. I mean, it's really like the climate change, like the mainstream climate change narrative isn't already propaganda, but you can already see, like, in that kind of dialectic, that there's a fake, like, opposition being crafted here. And so that's what this cult is. And they're affiliated with different governments. The Russian Orthodox Church deemed them to be a dangerous cult. And I think even the Orthodox Church in Ukraine also called them, some kind of like dangerous evil cult or something like that.
Wow.
But they're based out of Ukraine.
When does this cult get going?
About a year ago. They're based in Ukraine.
So it's brand new.
Yeah. They're based in Ukraine. And like, people are just picking up on how deep this rabbit hole goes, because it was first these videos by this guy named Egon Chalakian. And they found that this guy's doing 3-hour uploads of just him talking, and he's sitting there.
Is that this guy right here?
That's not him. No, it's a different guy. But they look like this. The videos look like this. It looks really fake. It's like, is this guy even real? He's like sitting there with his hands folded for 3 hours. He doesn't move his hands. And people just found that the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper. And this is like, kind of a World Health Organization or some kind of WEF aligned and of course Alat Ra is a combination of I think it's a Arabic goddess, Alat, and then of course Ra.
Okay.
So yeah, there's these, there's all this occult stuff in it. Whether that's even like real occult imagery and symbolism that they're actually believing, or they're using that as a signal or something, who knows. But anyway, this video here is a documentary. They're like obsessed with nanoplastics. Like, this is what they think is going to end the world and like cause this climate apocalypse. And so this is what we're looking at is a 3-hour documentary. I don't know how much of it is AI generated. This guy might not even be real. But it's like, actually, this is a shorter version of it. I think there's like a full version that's like 3 hours. You don't need to pull it up, but I mean, this is like half of it. Right. And if you just look through the comments, like, you don't even need to watch the video. Okay. Yeah. This was a bad link. If you find, search for nanoplastics documentary. Maybe it's on that channel.
Is it on this channel?
It might be.
see.
Yeah, I mean all the videos are about nanoplastics. But if you just search like nanoplastics documentary, it might come up.
You like more meal. We like making.
Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah. So if you just go through the comments, yeah, so 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's like, who's watching this? And all of these comments are bots. And so you can see like kind of the marker of a YouTube bot is it has like a, person's first name and then the dash and then 3 alphanumeric letters or alphanumeric characters. And, especially the ones without a profile picture, but that doesn't even matter because some of them have AI profile pics. Like this one right here, nice journalist. Like his name is Nice Journalist. So if you look at the comments, they're all saying the same thing.
Yeah.
This is really eye-opening. This is so important. This is shocking. They all have this apocalyptic
honestly,
urgency.
it's shock. I haven't even finished the film yet.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The broccoli is so healthy on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all fake comment. And I was doing this on the stream. I was just like, I was shocked myself because you see them do this in the videos and the various videos about this cult where they go through the comments and they click on them and they're like, oh, wow, this goes so deep. But I was doing it in real time on this video. Like you can click any one of these and they're also sharing videos about this Alatra cult. Some of them are unrelated, but like, so they right there on the short. So that's Egon Chalakian right there. That second video, that one. So yeah, they're all like, and you just click the random one and it's sharing content from the same cult.
Right. Yeah. Totally random. I didn't even.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh
yeah.
Let me go back. Wow.
So this is, people are, this intersects with dead internet because people are realizing that, of course, AI profile picture there. People are realizing in real time how many bots there are on YouTube, which is perceived as, this kind of one of the last human platforms, right? Like, even though we all see the AI slop thumbnails and
they have the same exact video on their YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you just clicked a random one and this may be a real person. So that's the weird thing is that there's actually some real people that are in this cult. One of them is actually Trump's spiritual advisor.
Paula White?
Not Paula White. Is what's his name? Mark. He's like a black guy. He actually just met with he did this kind of ecumenical meeting with I think it was I think it was with Elder Paforos. I'm trying to remember his name. Mark.
No. Oh, Finkelstein?
No.
That's what's Victor Ziegler threw me off.
No, he's not a Stein. Mark, is it Mark Burns? Yeah, Mark Burns. Mark Burns, that's his name.
I'm not even familiar with him.
Yeah. Yeah, we think of Paula White, but he has, I guess, more than one spiritual advisor. But yeah, Mark Burns is in this apocalyptic eco cult, but and then he's even done videos on Alatra too, like he's promoting Alatra.
The fact
and they were behind by the way, they were behind the creation of that golden statue of Trump. This was
yeah, I remember that. The fact that this cult was created in Ukraine really gives me intelligence psyop vibes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can see actually I thought that was on the side that was him, but yeah, you can see like that there's like a real thing going here without any speculation, but
wow. Yeah. It's crazy, and the fact that people are being lured into this is, should be eye-opening for everyone that we're all being influenced in one way or another. And the only way to get out of this is to go touch grass. We tell the terminally online, like, go engage in real life. That is your saving grace, doing real things, working out, reading books, relationships with people, going out in public, socializing. These are things that people don't do. And this is one of the reasons why I think the Orthodox Church in our parish life has been so important for young people, especially coming out of COVID, is that it's a place where it's totally socially oriented and you got to do it face to face, and you need to develop some social skills and stuff like that, where the terminally online community, how many of your thoughts are actually yours? This is especially I'm just like everyone else. You wake up, you check your social media, maybe you check X, and then you go online, and then you're doing stuff. Maybe you pull up YouTube videos, and pretty soon you can't delineate what are your own thoughts and what are the thoughts that have been told to you through all the different mediums that you've been selecting throughout the day. And that's actually a problem, because you're going to lose your interior voice. And we already have a problem where half of Gen Z doesn't even have an internal monologue. I covered that with FDA one day as we were reading an article about how many people claim that they have no internal voice. They've never heard one. It's like we're entering into a scary period where people are literally losing their personhood slowly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're obsessed with, the whole like drama farming and stuff like that is exactly the nature of the internet now. It rewards, there's a reward mechanism built into engagement farming and drama, like drama and engagement is just, synonymous, it's hand in hand. Right. So like this incentivizes people, even in the Orthodox content creation world, to cover this stuff. And of course, it's very popular. It does generate a lot of clicks, and it's very easy for everyone to engage with. It doesn't require some kind of a higher intellect or anything. And, the thing that I think we need to keep in mind as Orthodox is that it's like, just because somebody's Orthodox and they're doing this kind of content, you don't have to engage with that, right? It's like, you don't have to look to these people. I'm not speaking about anyone specifically, by the way. I fall into this trap myself as well. But we don't have to like look into this stuff to the point where it's like so time consuming, because really the whole reason there is even that discourse in the first place is because of the algorithms. It's like, this is what everyone's playing the same game. It's like, debating over who won a debate. This is all just algorithmic. This is like where the human and the algorithm kind of merge together, and it becomes actually very dehumanizing. Right. And that's not an Italian. Yeah.
These things that we think are uniquely human, these bots can do. So they have usernames, profile pictures, apparent biographies, conversation style, whether it be in the Instagram comments or YouTube. They have a posting history. They appear to have their own opinions. They appear to have their own memory. They appear to have their own followers, and they're constantly interacting with other accounts in the network of social media. And these things that we typically thought, it's innocent, creating my avatar, getting my online profile set up. Well, that's not a human activity anymore. And there's no way to delineate between what is real. And it causes real, I would say, epistemological problems. So we talk about the relativism of today and the balkanization of epistemology and how we know something to be true. Well, hell, I don't even know if any of you guys out there are real. I mean, obviously, I think you guys are. A handful of you guys I actually know in real life. But legitimately, like, is anyone out there? Like, who do you know who you're engaging with? Yeah. Do you know who you're going back and forth with? Do you know who you're angry with? And obviously, for many people, they are engaging with real flesh and blood, going back and forth. But notice again the outrage culture, the drama merchant machine. This is another dopamine hit, right? Yep. So how did the social media platforms take us over? How are they controlling us? Well, Zuckerberg talked about, this weaponization of dopamine, whether it be the blue light on the phone and the pop-up of notifications and getting a new follower or engagement, that this releases dopamine. And we're stuck in a dopamine trap right now. This is why people out there listening, you're probably wondering, damn, I feel like my memory is going away. I can hardly remember things anymore. It's hard for me to sit and focus. I try to sit down and read a book, and it's like in 5 minutes, I'm already pulling my phone out and checking things. This is because you become addicted to dopamine hits. And a way in which we don't realize we're still engaging in dopamine hits is engaging in drama or things that inflame our passions or our emotions. And I'm not saying to never be engaged in controversy or to never debate somebody. That's not what I'm saying at all. So don't take it to the extreme. My point is, unless you're conscientious of it, you're literally are becoming an NPC, engaging back into this hive mind, engaging back into this dead internet. And there is no life in it. That's why I think for us Orthodox people, the message online is just go to church. We try to educate. You make great research content. I try to. And then the ending message is go to church.
Yeah.
That's where God is. That's where Christ is. That's where real people are. That's where real life is. This is not real life.
Yeah. Yeah. There's on your point about reading, there's a study. I always refer to this because it's actually really eye-opening. And you can it's one of these things you can tell it's true, without even having to read the research on it, but they call it the brain drain hypothesis. And it pertains to the engaging with reading material with a smartphone in a certain proximity of you. And so basically the study found that the closer in proximity your smartphone is to your physical body while you're reading, the more retarded you get. And you can't process
that one.
Yeah. And you can't process what you're reading because your mind is distracted. You don't even have to be on the phone. It's just, if it's near you, it makes you focus on what is your attention is shifted towards not going on your phone. So all of your cognition is going into, it's literally draining your brain cognition to, fight the urge to check your phone and see what kind of current thing slop you're missing out on.
Right.
And so it prevents you from reading and engaging in these prolonged, intellectually challenging exercises because you just want to go and consume more slop.
Well, and our brains are conditioned by dopamine. So I've noticed with myself, when I do research or I need to get through a book, so I need to put in, today's objective is I need to put in 4 to 5 hours of reading. And if I engage online, if I check X, if I get aware of breaking news or something inflames my passions, that early morning dopamine hit already sets a sort of cascading effect that when I go to sit down, say it's around noon, and I go to sit down, already my brain, after a page or two, it's okay, where's the dopamine hit? Because reading, one of the things why reading is so beneficial for people is the dopamine hit doesn't come until you're done.
Yeah.
So it's a prolonged activity that is enriching. It increases your, cognitive ability, increases your linguistic facility, but it also demands you to put away your dopamine addiction for a while. And then the dopamine rewards you get at the end is actually more beneficial and you feel more happy about it. We get these fake dopamine hits. And that's why fitness, church, going, gardening, going out in the world, doing actual stuff. These are prolonged dopamine hits that if you engage in them, you can kind of reset the brain. But as there's a theorist that was talking about dead internet theory, Jean Baudrillard, and his theory is that what the dead internet and what this constant engagement with bots is doing is setting the stage for the simulacrum or the simulation, and that people have sort of passively already accepted a simulated world by the fact that people sometimes, know that it's a bot or it's an AI YouTube channel or it's AI content, but it's still good. This idea that the technocratic simulation is already being put in place right now. It's through the algorithm, it's through the bots, it's through these outrage, emotive processes. It's you no longer being fully in control of yourself. And we can all kind of feel like, everybody in the chat, just be honest with yourself. Like, you can feel like there's a piece of you that you're not controlling, and it's like escaping you, and that you're kind of imprisoned to these systems.
Yeah. And I actually think that this is, of course, speculative, but I have a strong belief that this is also going to justify on a wide scale digital IDs, because I mean, we all experience this, and this has been happening for many, many years. Solving puzzles, solving CAPTCHAs, they're called, right? When you go on a website, this is like on, I think, almost pretty much every Cloudflare website, and then all these other sites like Google and stuff that have the Google tracker. You have to solve a puzzle to prove you're not a bot, right? Like, you have to prove that you're human to continue using the internet. We just go through these passively because it's so second nature now. We don't even really think about what that implies, that we're having to verify our humanity to continue using the internet. And now we're at the point where AI bots can solve these puzzles. It's pretty easily. They can crack these. I sent another link in the private chat. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. But there's another research paper on this called CAPTCHA Solving for Native GUI Agents, Automated Reasoning, Action, Data Generation, and Self-Corrective Training. So there's, it's quite easy to now train a bot to, I'll send that if you want to pull it up.
Yeah,
go ahead. It's pretty technical, but it's pretty easy to train these bots now to solve CAPTCHAs. And so, and this kind of describes the whole nature of this, right? Where it's like the bot content and abilities of the of these AI agents are surpassing humans' abilities to filter them and to mitigate the spread of them. You can see this on every social media platform, especially on X. The X developers are constantly putting out these statements about how they're trying to mitigate AI slop on the platform, and they can't, because just like everyone else, they can't keep up with the pace in which these bots are being trained to bypass this stuff and to continue blurring the lines between humanity and human and bot generated content. And so this presents a big problem, because it's not going to be these like annoying puzzles that we solve anymore. And we already see that we're heading in this direction. We've been groomed into this, right? With like the biometrics, like just to unlock our phone, we have to use a fingerprint biometric or facial recognition to unlock it. So it's pretty, the on-ramp is going to be pretty seamless into actually verifying a state ID. I mean, we have KYC with all these financial applications we use. Even to get a blue check mark, right? You have to do this. You have to submit your ID to some Israeli organization. So it's going in, it's in some Israeli database, your face with, your government ID. And so this is like already pretty normalized. And we're seeing all these policies in the US. Even by next year, this is going to become undeniably part of this agenda, because they're already talking about having to do age verification checks just to use an operating system that connects to the internet. So this is going to apply to Windows, Mac OS. They're trying to do it with Linux. I don't know how that's going to be possible, but basically, if developers want to sell their software that connects to the internet in the United States, they're going to be required to embed some kind of age verification system in the software itself. So this isn't even just the internet. This is with anything that interfaces with the internet.
Right.
So this is like a real thing that's happening. Even if it's in a few states that they're doing this, to sell your software on a national level, you have to comply with those state laws. So this is going to become very evident by next year. And you could talk about like, the 2030 agenda and how maybe it's like part of that or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just looking at what we have, what we know now, and I do think there is that. It seems like there's that effort again, this is my own speculation, but it just seems like this is the direction it's going in, where this is all going to justify using some kind of like, it's like, okay, no more puzzles, guys. The bots are figuring out the puzzles. You just have to submit your state ID, and then you get a special check mark to continue browsing the internet as a human.
Yeah. And that's why I think Baudrillard's theory about this being the precursor to the full-blown simulation, and he claims that the state of the internet really back to like the late 2000 teens has set the stage for what he calls a hyper reality, that people actually are no longer in reality. They're in an an alternate reality. And you can see this with the trans stuff, the furry stuff, right? The idea that men can give birth. I don't think these ideas could even exist in a non-internet world. And we kind of underplay the influence of our digital medias. And this gets back to McLuhan and some of his media theories and how they totally influence, a wide variety of aspects of our perception of the world, and that people are influenced by these things. And regarding this article here, I got my master's degree from the University of Illinois. So it's good to see all these, good Americans here doing research. Chen, Jai, Wang, Wang, Zhang.
Well, yeah, no, the Chinese know that. Yeah, the Chinese know better than anyone how all this digital footprint stuff works. It's like this is all like these guys know. Right. These guys know what's going on here. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's not just a matter of like, like your standard age verification check where it's like, I mean, this is another thing we've been conditioned to do like pretty easily without thinking twice. Confirm whether you're 18 or not, and you just press a button. It's like, okay, fine. Right. Pretty harmless. But when that's tied to your digital ID, you have an entire, like you're tying your entire digital footprint that already exists because all these trackers are tracking you even in the device that you carry with you in your pocket when you're not using it. We're all carrying around these spy devices. And, now that's tied to like all of your internet traffic and behavior is tied to your government ID, your address, like everything. And, they're going to know all of your political opinions, like everything you share on Twitter, all of your based takes are tied to your, your ID. I mean, again, this is all still happening, whether or not it's tied to our ID. But
and that was my whole point in a video I did probably 3 or 4 years ago, whenever Elon was getting ready to buy Twitter, before he did it, when it was like a meme online. I said, Elon is not your friend, because all these conservatives, that was the name of the stream. You can go back and see it. It's like an overview of all the lies and the gaslighting of Elon Musk. And not saying he doesn't have opinions we agree with. Of course, sometimes he's right on certain issues. But my whole point was when he purchased Twitter, that was a data collection. That had nothing to do with allowing you, to juice Berg or talk about Israel, which I've done because the Overton window has shifted. Although this YouTube loves Israel. So don't, as you transcript this video, don't forget that. We love Israel on this YouTube channel. But the whole point of him buying X was not so you have free speech. It was so that he can open the parameters of speech so that he can see what people are saying. Yep. And it's all being documented. You don't think Grok is watching every single post, every single like, every single second that while you're scrolling, you stop and stare at something? All that stuff's being tracked.
Yeah.
And how valuable is that?
Yeah, it's an AI data mining project disguised as a social media, open forum type thing. But yeah, it's all just data
mining. And that's why he wants it to be the American WeChat, where your bank account, your social media, everything is connected on one app. Your AI, if you prefer to use Grok over some of the you have any question, just open up X, ask Grok. It'll provide you links and access. So my point and to this to the digital ID is that's why I think this theory that the death of the internet is the precursor for the simulation makes so much sense, because it's the precursor, as you said, with the CAPTCHA and all this different stuff, to verify that you're human, which the next step is to verify that you're a human, but which human are you? Okay, now we have your digital ID. We know exactly who you are. Social Security, online profile, bank account, all that stuff's now tied together. And so we don't it seems like maybe a leap, but that's the natural progression of where all this stuff is going. And you listen to Jared Kushner and some of these elites, they're in favor of depopulation. They're in favor, the idea that they would be fighting against the bots or the rise of AI. You're absolutely clueless. These people are expecting to live to 140, 200 years old. If not forever in some cases. Jared Kushner literally said that his generation is the first generation that won't have to die. And he felt bad for the generation before them because they contributed to the technology, but they won't be able to implement it. So Jared Kushner is of the belief that he's going to live for a very, very long time. And if that's the case and you're a ruling elite, obviously you don't want a massive 8 billion global population. That needs to be reduced, and automation needs to ramp up, so that you don't need human labor. People are held captive by a central control system, and nobody's there to threaten your reign. And we're already seeing the implementation of all this stuff put in place.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to pull up another link I sent, the Dead Internet Archive. We can see some more current examples of this, this mass psyop, if you want to call it that. But these are, so like the featured one there at the top is like pretty startling. It's a like obviously blasphemous image of shrimp Jesus. Apparently this, I'd never seen this before, but apparently it was like a Facebook boomer meme that was going around and got, hundreds of millions of engagements. And they found that it was basically just these groups that were, or rather individuals who were, they figured out this model where it's like, okay, generate 50 plus AI images per day and drip them out, intermittently, and just measure. It's all just, data metric. It's just like measuring metrics. None of it made any sense. It's like, well, we'll just see what has the most engagement.
Right.
Like it's all nonsensical stuff, but this one got the most engagement and no one knows why. It's like, it kind of plays into the brain rot stuff, right? So you see like the Italian brain rot, what's his name?
Italian brain rot.
Yeah. If you scroll down a little on the, up, it's like the first one there, like, yeah, right below that. Yeah. On the left.
I see.
Yeah.
Italian brain rot right here. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just not, it's all just nonsensical stuff, but it's whatever. Yeah. Everyone's, I'm sure, seen the AI cat soap operas too. And it's like, I've seen this stuff and I stop scrolling and watch it. No, I mean, there's no question that it's AI. It's just pure dopamine. And you encounter it and you're just now in a spiritual battle with like knowing you're going to waste this time watching this purely dopaminergic content that was created for this purpose that you're consciously, engaging with. And it's just like, this is what everyone's wasting their time on.
Right.
Boomers are getting one-shotted by this stuff on Facebook. So like, TikTok,
that's what
Facebook,
I was getting ready to bring up is, if you just put Dead Internet on X, of course, I follow Anthony. So first thing pops up is his post saying Dead Internet theory is not a theory anymore, which it's not. It's a reality. More than half of all the web content is bot slop, and every major platform is fighting an uphill battle trying to mitigate it. It's inevitable that digital ID verification will be required to consume web content, which we already believe. But look down here. You go to, where was it? There was a, dang it, it must have gone away. There was let me pull it up from here. There is a post talking about Facebook and boomers and AI content right here. So opened Facebook. Oh
yeah, this one. Yeah.
And so clearly AI, you watch this, yeah. Obviously that's AI. This girl jumps on the back of a golden retriever. The girl's drowning. Oh, wow. Look how strong she is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, nobody knew this was fake. People were commenting on Facebook, 12,000 comments, 57,000 likes on this video, applauding the dog for rescuing the girl. Like, oh my gosh, that's why I love golden retrievers. And it's like, are you serious? Like,
Yeah,
So they don't even, they can't even delineate between reality and AI. But
Yeah.
AI is getting so much better that it's even for myself sometimes hard.
Yep.
And then you can find these posts of people online like this. This is on X, and this is how you can see some of these bot accounts is the way they respond. I'm sorry, but I can't generate that story for you. I'm sorry, but I can't generate a quote for that tweet. So the AIs are sort of malfunctioning in their tweet against someone else and exposing that, oh yeah, this account's just total AI. Sorry, I can't generate the response you're looking for. And then commented, but sorry, but I can't generate the response you're looking for. Apologies, but I'm not able to provide the specific response you're seeking at the moment. And so then you have like on X, a bot post, and then all these bots begin, prompting the exact same thing and responding.
Yeah, and even with profile pictures, it's like you have real people using AI profile pictures, and you have AI using real people, like real images as profile pictures. Right. So even like you can't even look at that anymore. But it's like if everyone knew that the time they're spending online, there's a 60% likelihood that the people they're engaging with are not even real people, would they continue spending their time doing that? That's the question we should all ask ourselves. Like, what, if you were spending all this time online, like, would you continue doing this knowing that, there's a 60% chance that you're communicating with machines?
Well, and the same thing goes for pornography, right? How many people, I don't engage in it, but I saw people on X talking about how they don't even care if it's AI porn. It still does the job.
Yeah, that's the logical conclusion. Yeah.
And it's like, well, the next stop is sex bots, which they're already creating. I did a whole stream on sex robots in the sex bot industry, and how, again, it's total consumerism. You can customize it, the breast size, the hip size, whatever it is, the skin color, teeth, everything about the doll. And the flesh is heated, or whatever they're using as flesh, so it has human body temperature. Why would you not begin, fornicating with a robot when you're already okay and knowledgeable that you're masturbating to AI images or AI videos of women? Like, that's the same thing with the dead internet theory leading to the simulation. We don't realize that once there's like this complicity or this acceptance of it, well, now you're going to accept the next stage, whether you're knowledgeable or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like the logical conclusion of all that. I mean, sex has driven a lot of the technological innovation of the digital age. We saw the same thing happen with VR. I mean, the internet, like the web itself, like a lot of the innovation of the websites and the nature of the feed was crafted around how people consume pornography and stuff. So there's another site, if you wanted to pull up some more examples of this, that I dropped in the private chat. It's Moltbook.
Yep.
Have you ever seen this?
I have not.
Yeah, this is literally a job board for AI agents.
Should I say I'm human or just stay here?
Let's see what happens if you're an agent. I mean, look, this is actually designed for bots to recruit other bots. Like, that's what this is.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's a whole literally a social network for AI bots. Of course it's a Reddit. It's got the Reddit model, so it's all bot generated updates and stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, that reminds me of did you see the World of Warcraft where it's an entire bot city?
No.
So let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, I was just, searching online. So there's a World of Warcraft server that is only for bots.
Wow.
Here it is right here. So in World of Warcraft, a server without humans has appeared. Instead, 1,800 DeepSeek-based bots are playing there. The bots behave like regular players. They chat, they level up characters, run dungeons, and even fight each other. As a result, the game world looks completely alive. And it's just bots encountering bots playing World of Warcraft. Like, getting back to the same idea here that you're highlighting with Moltbook, it's like we have entire ecosystems now just for bots to engage with each other.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I don't know how much you want to get into the data centers, but I mean, what are these data center, like this is actually costing real compute that is requiring all of these real resources like water to, to keep these machines going. And this is why, this is not why specifically, but I mean, this is a good example of just how wasteful all this is, where to keep this like perpetual and exponential growth of AI going on the internet. It's requiring these real resources. There was even just like, so this is the implications of this. Like just last week, there was, I don't have the article in front of me, so I forget where it was. It was somewhere in South America. There was a cyber attack launched on a data center that caused a water crisis in that town. So like people were out of water because some guy in another, like some hacker, probably, a competitor or something of the company, or just didn't like it, doesn't matter, was able to do a cyber attack on this data center. And it caused this big water crisis in that town for like multiple days. And it's like, so this is tying into real resources. This is why, I'm trying to highlight this, that it's not just the internet. Like you could log off and just say, I'm not going to use the internet, but we're now in a reality where this actually does impact our offline life as well. Like right. You can go off grid and there's still like, you might have access to water because of something that happened with a data center or whatever. Like it seems really out there, but this is happening now. Absolutely.
And the amount of energy and resources it takes. I mean, that was the whole argument with Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary's, push for the data center there in Utah, that the locals voted no. For some reason, the city council votes yes, probably monetary kickbacks, I'm sure. And all of a sudden, one of the largest, I forget how many acres, it was like 40,000 acres or something around there that they purchased. And they're siphoning off the water into the data center to run. It's like, one, that's in the desert. Water is a commodity once you get west of the Rockies. And this has real life impact. I mean, so even if you do try to, as you said, log off the internet, go back to real life, the entire world is being commodified by this force, by this entity, by this depersoning. And that's where, technology itself isn't evil, but this depersoning that's happening through the internet is evil. And it's clearly demonic and it's clearly tied to Antichrist.
Yeah, I just dropped the link in the chat if you want it. Yeah, from FBI website about this.
Okay.
But this is why it's like we need to kind of switch gears into more of a prepping mindset with this stuff. Like if you actually are looking at this data and seeing what's going on and the implications of it, it does involve to some degree, like, being prepared for not being so connected to these centralized grids. I mean, this is crazy. Like this is about,
look at these tips. So the FBI, has to do with malicious cyber attacks targeting water and wastewater sector, internet-facing programmable logic controllers causing operational disruptions. And it says, tips to protect yourself. Disconnect PLC from the public-facing internet, okay?
Yep.
Ensure device passwords are complex, unique combinations. Okay, that's normal. Strictly control network access to PLC devices. Place physical and software key switches to run position to block unauthorized changes to logic, configuration, and firmware. Practice and maintain the ability to operate OT systems manually. Review project files. And then this one, plan for end-of-life replacements when possible.
Yep. And who knows how to do this stuff? It's like it sounds like you need to be a nerd to even know what this stuff is about. And that's another point I highlight often is like, we're already at the point now where we're at a crossroads, and it's like, you either need, like, if you want to continue using digital technology in a somewhat freedom respecting manner, you have to become nerdy and understand how these centralized systems work and how they target us, and how we have essentially no privacy whatsoever when we're using the internet. And you have to really sacrifice a lot of conveniences to continue using these technologies in a somewhat freedom respecting way.
Right.
Or the other path in this crossroads is you go full Uncle Ted and build a cabin in the woods. But I think that's a cop out. And we have actually some of our modern saints and elders have kind of alluded to that like they're, this is kind of like what ties into like the royal path, where it's like, you don't want to go either extreme, right? You want to like find, like, the technology could serve the church.
Absolutely.
And we just have to, like, I am a firm believer that if we are going to use digital technology to serve the church, we cannot do it with the current model that it's employing, which is this top-down centralization, because that whole thing is compromised. We need to adopt more decentralized solutions for this stuff, decentralized communications, especially that are private and encrypted end to end. If there is some kind of catastrophic thing, or the internet is no longer available, or it changes in a way that, there's the digital ID requirement to even continue communicating. There's, imagine there's persecutions going on, right? Like, this stuff is really happening very fast, and we're doing very, very little to prepare for it. And we do need people who are more technically capable of knowing how to set up these systems, because the common person can't. Right. And so even to communicate this is very difficult, because like people hear this and they get overwhelmed and they're like, well, I don't know how to do any of that, so I guess I'll just check out or something.
But as we said, there is no running from this.
No.
The idea that you're going to, the ideal of moving back to Russia, or, going to some other country, or, fleeing into the woods and living and I'm all for getting back to nature and living a more sustainable lifestyle. But as we said, that's not going to stop the chemtrails. That's not going to stop the ratification of everything. That's not going to stop the government controlling, property tax, whatever it is. You're going to be controlled by the system. There's no way to escape the system. And now, even if you try to go off grid or live sustainably, you got the flock cameras that are tracking your every move. The system knows where you're at. The system knows what you're doing. If you have a smartphone, you're being tracked, you're being listened to, and all of that data is going back into this entire system that we're describing. Yeah.
And I mean, there's an Orthodox prophecy that the internet's going to go out. Was Elder Panagiotis Solis. He prophesied that communications will be cut, satellites, phones, and the internet. Because everyone likes to quote the quote from Saint Paisios that America will be Orthodox, right?
Right.
But they don't understand the timeline that there's like numerous prophecies that the American empire will collapse, right? So it's like, how do those two relate, right? It's like you have multiple prophecies saying that there's going to be this collapse, there's going to be a economic crisis, all this stuff, but then it's also going to be holy. So like, where does that? Well, the holiness comes after the collapse, right? And I think that's even in the timeline. Like if you look at Jonathan's website,
what was the state? I'm going to pull it up real quick.
I think that's on that. I think I got that from that site. So, a lot of this stuff, it's like hard to verify, but this might be one of them. But I mean, it's there. We have it. It's like you can do what you want with it. But his name was Elder Panagiotis.
Okay.
Siolis, so Tsiolis.
All right.
And that was reported in 2021. So, it's like, I know that you shouldn't perhaps like make your whole, like change up your whole life based on one unverified prophecy, but I think that there's some I think there's some truth to actually, and there's some utility in actually taking this kind of warning seriously, and just be like, what does it hurt being prepared for an offline scenario? I mean, we just went.
I'm on the site. I'm trying to pull it up.
Yeah, I would have to. Yeah, let me
Okay.
give me a minute, and I'll find where that is. Because even again, like even the quote itself, it was like unverified. So it's like there wasn't it wasn't something that there was like a direct source for it. But so is the quote, "America will be Orthodox." That was like some guy said that on Facebook, that he talked to St. Paisios, and he said that. So that was even, not communicated in a verifiable way. But yeah, I'll maybe while you're talking, I'll see if I can pull this up. But
I'd love to pull up that quote, because I'm logged in. I'm on the Eschaton Vigil, and I just wasn't seeing it popping.
I think it's on the if you go to the, how he has that like roadmap, like the timeline. It might be on there.
It's on the timeline.
It might be on there.
Okay.
If you search for like, do a Control F search for like internet or something.
All right. Got it. Okay. Right here.
Yeah, there it is.
So World War III, Elder Panayiotos, communications will be cut, satellites, phones, and the internet. There it is.
Yeah. So, if this is even remotely true, it's like, it's getting really late. It's getting very late. And, this is why, so I built a web forum that I call it permanet.xyz, and it's designed specifically for Orthodox to prepare for how to localize, how to set up decentralized communications, so that we can all continue like at least communicating. Like I feel very strongly that needs to be the first layer that needs to be done. Because, how do you even like in some kind of unprecedented disaster that we didn't know was coming, like COVID or something, right? Like most people paying attention didn't know was coming.
Right.
Sorry, my phone's ringing here. We could be more prepared for this. And, like I said, it requires like people that are more technically inclined to be able to set this stuff up. But I think that the communications layer needs to be the first thing, because how do we even find out who can do what role? If you're in an offline scenario and now you're having to communicate with other Orthodox people to localize and they're further away from you, how do you even establish like, okay, we're going to, this person's doing this person's doing this. We're going to meet here, like we're going to do trade and stuff, whatever, right? It's like you need to have that communication flow. So, I got really into like mesh networks and stuff like that, like these offline decentralized networks, so you can basically have a parallel internet without.
And that's what the
ISPs.
Fediverse was supposed to be.
Yeah, but even the Fediverse requires like it requires access through the ISPs and stuff. So like what we're talking about,
right?
When that goes out, like you still need to be, you still need to have the public service of an ISP.
Right.
So what happens when all that too requires like a digital ID, like to even sign up for an ISP, you need to you kind of do already, like they already know your address. It's the same for a phone number, right?
Yeah, good point.
So like this all needs to be, there needs to be like a decentralized way that we do this. So like, I got really into like building a parallel internet and things like that. Taking what's good left on the internet and archiving it. Orthodox works, especially a lot of them, just because of the boom of Orthodox content online. A lot of stuff is exclusively online that we cannot afford to lose in an offline scenario. Right. Where now, like, imagine we need a digital ID to access like liturgical text and stuff, right? Or like the writings of Father Seraphim Rose, his letters that are exclusively online, that even the book publishers had to pull from Father Alexei Young's website. Right. Like a lot of this stuff was exclusively published online. What happens when we don't have access to that anymore, or it requires something nefarious like a digital vaccine essentially to access it?
Absolutely. And I believe that is all coming regarding the digital access to the internet itself. And I don't know how, I've been speculating like what the ultimate end goal for Starlink is, if that's a way to kind of control access to the internet. Maybe that's going to be the majority of people's access point in the future, or something like that. But yeah, I'm totally with you that everything's moving much quicker than people realize. Of course, we're Orthodox, so we don't say a time or a day, but the capabilities of all this technology and the infiltration of it into our every life. And we were talking on X about the AI project where they're destroying all these rare books, that these massive conglomerates with millions and millions of dollars are buying up some of the rarest books in existence.
Yep.
And then digitally copying those and then destroying them, so that you and I can't use them. And the process in which they use, it seems to me totally unnecessary, where they literally cut the book in half, destroy the binding of it, and then the AI begins to scan all the papers, and then they throw the actual book away or burn it.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that that talk at the World Economic Forum from Yuval Harari, where he's talking about how AI will consume all of the book religions because it's essentially a word religion in itself, like AI, because all of AI is words, right? It's all just words. And so he's saying like, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, like all the book religions, which we know obviously Christianity is not a book religion, but he's talking about Protestantism, how it's like all of these religions that are based on text and on word will be consumed by AI, and you won't need, like, essentially you won't need the books anymore. Like it will all just be this kind of like syncretic word slop religion that, will be the new religion of the future, quite literally. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth to that.
Well, in Harari, in those Homo Deus and in those WEF speeches, talks about how the AI will tell you the correct interpretation of the book religions. So the Abrahamic faiths, and again, totally unsophisticated regarding philosophy, given that every interpretation is going to be value laden and paradigmatically oriented. So he's not interested in that. His entire theory, as I talk about in my book, is algorithms, and that the processing of data is the only thing in his world that is actually in existence. Like, because he's a Darwinian evolutionary theorist, everything is in flux, everything is changing. We are outdated hardware, we are biological algorithms. A tomato and its processing of sunlight and nutrients in the soil, that's a form of an algorithm. And therefore everything is ultimately just data, which, as you said, is words or language. And AI, being an algorithm that can understand data, is much superior to us. And therefore, when it comes to these religions, the AI will tell us what the words mean. The AI will tell us what scripture means. The AI will dictate, essentially become the priest of all the book religions, but really all religions in general. I mean, this is the perennial Antichrist faith.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this idea, because I do my research primarily on this kind of this transmission that you can follow back from the onset of the Reformation. You have the Reformation being empowered by print technology. You have this sola scriptura doctrine that would not even be possible without widespread access to the printed Bible, right? And this is kind of like the conclusion of that. I see like all that stuff you're talking about, like that's like automated sola scriptura.
Yes.
It's just algorithmically automated.
You don't even get the freedom of interpretation that the Protestants give you. I mean, your interpretation will be dictated by the AI. And that's what, I think about this myself, because I use AI is great for research, finding
Yeah.
links, finding articles, finding books you've never heard of on topics to explore. And I was thinking just the other week about, geez, like, how much are we becoming dependent? I mean, it makes researching so much easier,
Yes.
more convenient to get access to things that you didn't know existed. But it's also, if you're prompting it questions and giving you, asking for information about various topics, it also limits your perception on things. And I've done, like, for example, I did a stream last week or the week before on the Bolshevik Revolution and communist persecution of Christians. And it was very interesting that AI, at least ChatGPT, was making the case that the revolution was hardest in the religious communities on Judaism. And I thought, that's interesting. Which, of course, it was, guys, because this YouTube channel, we support Israel Netanyahu. But I thought, wow, really? So obviously I knew that wasn't the case, and then did further research and ended up showing a YouTube video of an academic talking about, he has a YouTube channel just on the Cold War, and talked about what was Judaism under the Soviet Union, and showed how actually they kind of had a privileged status. They had to do away with all the monotheism theology stuff, but they literally had a unique form of Soviet secular Judaism. And they promoted that identity within the USSR, even during Stalin and some of his, persecutions and outing people in his government and stuff like that. So it's interesting how AI, obviously, it's just pulling, these LLMs are just pulling from data sets, and these data sets are curated. Much of it is Wikipedia, which is also curated, but then they have these parameters on it. And I don't know. I've just been thinking about what is the long-term effect of us learning from AIs, and AI also being something that is beneficial if you're a researcher. It's hard not to utilize it.
You'll be surprised what you can find if you just tell the LLM that you're a rabbi, a Jewish historian. You have to like almost
start prompting it that way.
Yeah. You
First
have to like contextualize it as like, I'm just doing research here, like for my synagogue.
Exactly. Yeah. Act as a historical academic rabbi. Now, give me the insight of this forbidden topic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's plenty of stuff where they talk about it in a boastful manner. It's like, oh, it's a good thing that it was Jewish inspired or whatever, Right. It's like you just have to point it to that.
Yeah, I mean, so where do you think the internet is going to move from here? I mean, obviously, I don't know when, but I do feel like the digital ID is coming. And just like JD Vance used Palantir as a sort of foil for stopping illegal immigration, for tracking undocumented migrants in the country, eliminating crime, and all this, these conservative values for why we should support Palantir, tracking our every movement and categorizing us in files. I see the same thing is going to be used for the digital ID, is that this bot problem, this dead internet that we already live in, it's only going to amplify. It's going to get worse. You mentioned that the 2026 article on bad bots documenting 2025 activity showed that 53% was bots. You mentioned maybe it's up to 60% now in 2026. I mean, what is the internet when it's 70, 80% of all internet flow, all data transfer on the internet is between bots? And it seems like the natural outcome is going to be these digital IDs. And I think people siloing themselves deeper and deeper into these cocoons of information and the siloing of communities. I think the polarization is going to continue to get worse because of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think even just like on a practical level, with I'll put my speculations aside, even with the coming digital ID and all that, because I get that like some people might hear that and be like, that seems a little out there. Probably not this audience, but on a practical scale, what I see happening is that people are just, you're going to have like a large group. I wouldn't even be able to estimate if it's a majority or minority or whatever, but I think, let's say half of internet users are going to basically get exhausted from the amount of bot generated content. And then you're going to have another side of the population that is going to become exponentially more addicted to it because it's all dopamine driven.
Yeah.
And so it's almost just going to be like given over to the passions of, short-term dopamine driven slop, like people that are addicted to that. So I think, either way, for what it means for us is a very sober examination of how we use the internet, the nature of it, how it influences our behaviors. It requires a lot of pause. It's like, I think that it's generally a good thing to take internet fasts, not just social media fasts, but a fast from internet access. Yes. Whatever that means, like turning it off, disconnecting your modem or whatever, however you can go about that. I think that that's really beneficial for us to just re-engage with, with nature and just with real interactions and stuff. Because I think that the way that it's going is it's not going to be good. It's very anti-human. Like all this stuff we're talking about here, the main theme is that it's anti-human, which means it's anti-logos.
Yep.
It's iconoclastic. All the visual AI slop we're seeing is all iconoclastic. It's a mockery of the icon. It's people that don't exist, or it's people that have like warped faces or like anthropomorphizing animals and stuff like that. And, exploiting human compassion, human emotions, like the golden retriever video. A lot of it is very exploitive and ultimately, exploiting real human behaviors. This is why it gets so much engagement. It's like exploiting real human behaviors. All the top AI slop content that has like the highest engagements, the most viral engagements, the theme is that there's a face involved.
Right.
There's always like a face or some kind of human aspect to it that that gets engagements, because like even if it's abstracted and warped and stuff, but I see it as very anti-Christian in a very dangerous and subtle way that unfortunately a lot of people aren't picking up on.
Yeah. And in relation to the internet fasting, I would say as an exercise is when news breaks or everybody's talking about something and you can already see the bifurcation of thought, is to reflect on something and try to have a unique opinion on something. Try to be nuanced. Obviously, I'm in favor of Anthony of at times just get off the internet, not just social media. But one of the things that I think about myself and other people is just how much we're being influenced in our own perception and opinions.
Yeah.
And one exercise you can do is don't agree with anyone.
Yeah.
And come up with a topic, whatever everyone's talking about, and decide on what is your opinion, not based on what anyone else. You can, what they say, maybe it influences your thought, but come up with sit and think about something. One of a healthy exercise to do, and I think this is totally orthodox, is to sit in silence sometimes. Now, I would say pray, but something that I do is sometimes I'll just think about a topic, just have a topic and just sit there 30, 40 minutes, maybe an hour, no phone, no internet, no stimulation, and allow your inner voice, allow your own opinion and your own conscience and your own body of knowledge to come forth and articulate something, because your own voice is being essentially shouted out by the internet for a lot of people. And if you were to ask someone what their opinion is, they're just going to regurgitate something that they follow or someone they like online. And that is a sort of dissolution of your personhood, that you have free will. You are a critical thinker. You're made in the image of God, and you don't have to constantly be siding on teams and sides and being manipulated by the algorithm, by the hive mind, by the zeitgeist. Like, be conscientious of it. You can observe it as a sociological fact in society, but try to differentiate yourself from it. Legitimately think about a topic and, well, what is my thoughts on that? And this is where I agree, this is where I disagree. And sometimes maybe your favorite YouTuber, maybe myself, I say something, well, think about why you would disagree. Come up with a disagreement. Maybe you're wrong, maybe you're right, maybe I'm wrong, but literally sit and do some critical thinking. I think for a lot of people, they're just being spoon-fed thoughts and ideas, and it allows them to feel like they're doing the critical thing because someone else is doing it for them. But that's just one step away from the AI doing it for you, which is just one step away from the technocracy doing it for you.
Yeah, and keep in mind, we're getting these opinions from the, people we have these like parasocial relationships with. They're influencers that we really like, their personality, we connect with them and stuff. And so we build this level of trust around them, and it's like, oh, they were right about this thing, so their opinions moving forward, I am going to give them more weight and stuff. And a lot of there's something, I think we didn't even touch on this, that part of this whole thing of this synthetic consent, or synthetic consensus that's being developed through AI algorithms, is that people have lost trust in these, corporations, these news companies, these NGOs and everything that are aligned with, like, they have like a financial paper trail you can follow. They're funded by Zionist orgs or whatever, right? And so people put more legitimacy on independent creators as if they're immune from that too. And what's really going on is, like, a lot of these independent creators, the more they grow, they also encounter temptations and stuff to be, have money thrown at them with the explicit purpose of them remaining independent, so that it appear, because these NGOs know that they aren't trusted, and so they will actually finance independent creators with huge platforms to remain seemingly independent, and they're really, shills for whatever this secret organization is or whatever. I know it's like a little conspiratorial, but this is like a real thing. Like, we can verify this, that this has happened with certain creators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I know some people might hear, like, take an internet detox as something pretty extreme. It's pretty hard to do, to just completely unplug. A more practical thing you can do is to build what's called an RSS feed. This is an old school internet thing. Before there was algorithmically generated feeds that are giving you this, like, news and current event slop through a voice that has already parsed the information and given you their opinion. You can just craft a non-algorithmic feed for yourself, a custom feed, where you just go through all these blogs, websites. I think you could maybe even do Twitter accounts if you wanted to, but I would say just remain as neutral as possible and just get, like, news headlines. It updates in real time, so there is a feed aspect to it, but it's not algorithmic. It's not based on your impulsive behaviors or anything. Right. And just, like, sit with those headlines and those read some articles and just, like you said, work them out in your mind, like, come up with your own opinion about it. Right. Because it's really important to just, like, the important part about that is to just disconnect from third parties parsing the information for you.
Yes, absolutely. And while you were speaking, on, what is that, Twitch? Objectionable busybodies. AI viewers, go to streambo.com to get AI viewers on Twitch.
Wow.
Perfect topic for some AI bot to come in here to tell me to purchase AI viewers. And that's your point, though. How many streamers do purchase AI viewers? Yep. One of the criticisms of these people with these massive online streams is how many of them are real, and then how many of them are bots that give the perception of a consensus itself, that the majority of people can agree on this or that because look how many viewers, look how many comments, look how many live viewers. So that influences our perception of people, of their opinions, of their validity, outside of whether something is actually true. And we have to be reluctant to succumb to the sort of social forces of modernity right now. I'm all for bringing back shaming and shame culture, but that has to be the shaming has to be based on Christian values. And when you transgress those, you're shamed, not on the contemporary values of the internet. And I think a lot of us, whether it be consciously or subconsciously, curate our ideas, our opinions, so that they sort of conform to the online ecosystem, the online value system, if you will. And we have to be aware of that. And same thing is true. I talked about this at Montanica about, talking about Israel and Zionism is we have to make a decision because as a church, we stand against it. I mean, that's just our theology. It's really not a debate. But at the same time, like Pavlov's dogs, if the majority of my income is coming through the YouTube channel, which funnels my community, and if I get that taken down by saying something true that needs to be said, well, once that video gets taken down and I get a strike from YouTube and I can't stream for a week, it's like Pavlov's dogs. I'm gonna remember that. I'm gonna curtail my opinion or what I say, and we all have to be conscientious of the forces in our own lives. Not everyone has a YouTube channel is worried about the YouTube algorithm, but it's true for anything in our lives. There's this force, and just becoming more conscientious of it and realizing it's there. And sometimes you got to play the game. If you're working, and you're in a business environment, professional environment, talking about Netanyahu's and the inappropriate time to do that. So you need to be, self-aware,
have some optics
to it, but realize that I myself as a content creator am being sort of like a Skinnerian behaviorism is being programmed in me by the content I put out. Oh, the algorithm pushes the drama merchant stuff. But if I do something that is interesting or important that maybe touches on a forbidden no-no topic, I notice, the algorithm doesn't really push that. Maybe I should do more of the drama content, right? Well, now my behavior has been conditioned by the algorithm. My behavior has been conditioned by the technocracy that as an Orthodox Christian, we need to speak out against. I always say Christianity is not esoteric. And anybody who talks about esoteric Christianity is full of shit.
Yep.
Christianity is exoteric. And the job of every Christian is to speak truth as exoterically, meaning as publicly as possible. Because for all the problems of Jordan Peterson, he is right that speaking truth and putting that out into the world, one, it resonates with people and it does put things into some type of order. It is logos. It is the utilization of the word to its ultimate extent. But I think most people just need to become more conscientious of the factors and the forces that are shaping their own opinion and what they're willing to vocalize, but be smart about it. Be smart. You don't have to go and explain, what happened in 1947 and 1948 in the Holy Land to every person. You don't have to debate your parents, so there needs to be some discernment, which is only gained from the church. So, Christ in your engagement, your prayer life, your sincerity in your faith, that's the only thing that is going to give you the eyes to see. And we can all feel something tugging on us. Right. Every single person here with a smartphone, everyone in the live chat, everyone with social media, you can feel something pulling on you. And it's enticing. And at the same time, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah. This is why this is such a difficult. This, in a sense, is more difficult to discuss than the forbidden topics you were just mentioning, because nobody wants to hear this. It involves your own behavior. It involves you're ultimately saying most of the internet is fake and gay, and there's nothing you can do about it. But you're all addicted to it and you won't. So it's a tough message to send, especially on social media.
I mean, look, we're content creators. We're online. We run businesses online. So don't take anything I say as I'm speaking down to anyone. I'm speaking to all of us. I'm speaking to myself.
Yes, me too.
My
Yeah,
gosh,
me too.
I'm conditioned by it. I know that when I try to sit down and do reading or something, that if I've already been on, I'm influenced by it. I'm worried about perception and thoughts and where I'm gathering my information to form my opinion. So it's not just you guys or anyone else. I don't mean to be demeaning. It's literally all of us are in this. You cannot escape it.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, we got some super chats. So why don't we get into those? You guys have questions for Anthony or I, feel free to send those in. I ask dumb questions, throws in $10, says, love Anthony Westgate and DPH. Thanks, guys. Well, thank you, brother, for your support. And everyone, go subscribe to Anthony's Substack. If you want to stay in contact with his work and the information he's putting out, he has a great live stream. In fact, let me hyperlink you in my title. I meant to do that on YouTube. I just had your name, Anthony Westgate, but let me hyperlink to his YouTube channel. Is it not Anthony Westgate? What's your at? Oh, there.
It's just at Anthony Westgate.
So the hyperlink is in the title. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Go follow him on Substack. Sarah from Rosario throws in 10, says, Anthony's on time to lock in, boys. Yes, he was on time. And I Ask Dumb Questions throws in 20, says, back in 2010, when Facebook enabled profile downloads, was when it really took off. People would sell their profiles to data brokers who used AI to LARP as the old owners of accounts. This was across many platforms, Reddit, etc.
Yeah,
it's true. Thank you so much. I Ask Dumb Question throws in another 20, says, in 2026, Bloomberg ran an article about a MX election hacker who for decades hacked elections, but starting in 2012, he found that creating bots using the aforementioned data influence people much more than hacking elections. Yeah, well, that brings in a whole, Edward Bernays conversation on propaganda.
Yeah.
And, a McLuhan discussion on media is that it does feel like the propaganda that exists now is more effective than a billboard, right? When you watched a commercial in 1960, 1970, you saw an ad in a magazine or a billboard, you knew it was an ad. But now you don't know what's an ad. I mean, my God, you get Blue Chew. If you're a guy, every time you log on to YouTube, you get Blue Chew ads that look like some girl in her bathroom. It looks like a YouTube, Instagram reel or something. Like it's not even made to look like an advertisement anymore. And so everything is propaganda. Everything is trying to influence us one way or another.
Yeah. And that ties into what I was just saying about how, we have these seemingly independent creators now that are promoting these narratives that it's very hard to discern, that are narratives being promoted by NGOs or, whether they're conservative or liberal, to kind of like accelerate these dialectics. And that is like, I see that as like the new mainstream political discourse. It's gone independent now. Like nobody's watching the mainstream news. That's all gone on both with the liberals and the conservatives.
Right.
And so they're going to these independent creators. And for us to assume that these people are, to some degree, to varying degrees, not all of them, but many of them, let's say, are funded by these NGOs, is that is like the new form of this propaganda, because people can pick up on like blatant advertisements and things like that very easily. So it's just all automated now.
Absolutely. And this is what, again, the Logos Academy in my community is, we're trying to take orthodoxy and apply it to your life, right? So debating, the latest Protestant or the Catholic is beneficial for people to understand arguments and stuff. But if you're not applying it to your life, if you're not doing your daily prayers, if you're not focused on your health, if you're not going to church, if you're not tithing, if you're not a true member of your parish, like what does all this abstract theology and philosophy mean? And so if you're a man and you want to actually focus on the real things like your fitness, your health, tonight we're going to be finishing the book of Enoch, for example. So we actually study stuff. We talk together as a group of men. If you're interested in to actually applying all this abstract theology to your actual daily life, join us over at the Logos Academy. I promise you it's worth it. And we have such a great group of men. And this is what it's about, is even though we meet in Zoom meetings, is getting and putting these values into real life. How you treat your wife, how you, what are your relationships, for example? I think this is a huge marker of being an Orthodox Christian, is like, do you have good relationships with people? If you don't have good relationships with people, generally speaking, there's probably a you issue there. And that is detrimental to you actually being a conduit for Christ and the uncreated energies into the world. That's what we're called as Orthodox Christians, is to be a conduit of God's energies into the world. And when everything is just in your head, you're going to be susceptible to this. You think you're fighting the progressive mind virus. You think you're fighting XYZ. But if none of this stuff is actually being lived, it does not matter. That's why orthodoxy is a lifestyle. It's not an ideology. So any guys that are interested in actually belonging to a community that's learning, growing, holding each other accountable, would love to have you over there. Again, we're meeting tonight to finish the book 4, the Kingdom of Heaven, and book 5, the Epistle of Enoch. So we've read the complete book of Enoch. And shout out Logos Academy member Cody Mills throws in 5. God bless you, brother. He says, how do we get out of the loop of online addiction? How do we escape being a bot ourselves? Well, one is focusing on like what's real. And what's real is the things that you can control. You can control whether you pray. You can control how you treat people. You can control your presentation, the way you articulate, the way you come across to people, your fitness, your health. I think the first thing is to focus on the things you can control, because what I feel the algorithm and the bots are trying to get you to do is be outraged and obsessed with everything that's outside of your control. It creates anxiety. It causes you to be more emotive. It causes you to be less rational and emotionally engaged with something to draw a reaction. We need to pull ourselves back. We cannot let this matrix continue to pull our emotions into it. I mean, it's almost like a very dark black magic where it's being fueled by the innate energy within ourselves being made in the image of God. We are fueling this thing with our energy and with our emotiveness. So I would say, one, getting back to real life, finding and focusing, because I know Cody Mills, he's got kids, he's married, he's got a family. Making that a priority. I mean, your life needs to be faith, family, and then career or purpose, job, whatever that is. And for some people, it's like it's the online sphere. It's kind of warped it. It's kind of bastardized it. And they may not even be conscientious of how they privilege, this whole online ecosystem more than the people that are right there. I mean, put your phone away. If you're with your kids, put your damn phone away. You get home with the family, put the phone away. You don't need to check social media.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, Anthony? How do you get out of the loop of online addiction?
I would say you have to make things inconvenient for yourself. You have to sacrifice convenience. That's how all of this stuff is manipulating us. Our dependency on digital technology in itself is being fueled by your outrage is outrageously outraged. Yeah. Yeah. It's all at the expense of convenience, right? So it's like we adopt a lot of these technologies that nobody asked for because of the convenience that's being, imposed upon us, right? It's making our lives easier, to be more connected, to be more dependent on our phones to make payment, doing the Apple Pay, like scanning your phone and all this stuff, right? Like this is all, and that's just like one of the many examples, but making I see the fight. If you want to continue using the internet and using digital technology, you must make it more inconvenient for yourself, because that's the whole pipeline to justifying where this is ultimately headed, which is with just verify your digital ID to continue using, going about your business online, using it as you always have. And then we saw that happen with COVID. That was all at the expense of convenience. It's like, oh, you want to go back to going to concerts and bars and restaurants and going back to work, just get the jabby, just get in line. Right. It really takes a few minutes. You just get the jabby, you can go about your business.
Ouchie.
Yeah. So, I think that we just need to place these constraints on ourselves. It's all about restraint, like anything else, and resisting modernity. It's about imposing doing the opposite of what digital technology is designed to do.
Right. Which means you have to be conscious of it.
Right. And also just create something like
that's great advice.
Yeah. Like just build something useful,
build something, create something.
And don't vibe code. Just like actually go through the struggle of like learning. And I'm not even just talking about like websites and digital stuff. Like just build something, be artistic online, like build, make music, make graphics, make something that people that gives value to people, like create value.
Yeah.
That's becoming increasingly rarer as we have more bot generated content. It's like, and we were talking earlier before we went live, you were asking me like, do you do AI thumbnails? And I was like, I actually don't, because like, and it takes a lot of effort and time to just make your own thumbnail without AI. I actually hate it, but it's also something that helps my content stand out. I at least I think so. Because it's like there was a human behind the creation of this visual, right?
Yeah. When you mention creativity, I think that's the way to get around the looming economy, the one that everyone says is going to take everyone's jobs. Is if you run that playbook forward and assume that actually is the case, the only thing that is going to be truly human is people of excellence, right? Because other humans will want to consume your human-made excellence, whether that be a singer, a painter, you make stuff online, as Anthony said, or you write books, or you're a researcher, or whatever it is in the creative aspect. The 80% of it's going to be automated through AI. So being creative, though, connects you back to God as an uncreated energy. I mean, only God can create. And this is why the music industry and Hollywood and all this stuff, that's why it's so occultic, is because they're literally siphoning and, utilizing your creative energy for demonic purposes, because the demons and Satan can't create. They're sterile. That's why they want you to do, they want you to sodomize your friend.
It's even obscured what art is. I mean, we call like AI, we call it AI art, and it's not art. Art is a human art is exclusively a human action. Right. Only humans can create art.
Yeah. It's like using AI poetry. It's like, what's the point of the poetry? That the words rhyme? The point is the human expression. Yeah. Victor Ziegler throws in 10. Shout out to my brother. He says, "Oy vey, too much truth. Stop it." Yes. Oy vey. But, Victor, I think you're in the wrong neck of the woods, my friend, because we love Israel. And as the AI transcripts this, as soon as the video processes when we're done, the AI will see that we love Israel. We don't hate the chosen people. Sentient Sandwich just became a new member. Shout out to you, Sentient Sandwich. Wonder what kind of sentient sandwich he is. I ask dumb questions, throws in 5, says destroying personhood culturally, nationally, physically, mentally, and most of all spiritually, a demonic inspired attack on all fronts. That's exactly what we're up against. And this is why focusing on political solutions is the wrong focus. We are in a spiritual battle. If you take anything that Father Seraphim Rose has written seriously, or even most of the modern saints and elders of the church, there is no ideology that fixes things. It's the theology, it's the spiritual warfare that's affecting individuals that create the system. And you're right. Not only personhood, but our nations. Look at the migration, look at the culture, look at the relativism. And to Anthony's point, you can draw a straight trajectory from this, from the Reformation forward. I mean, it was the deconstruction of tradition, which is now total relativism, the sort of postmodern turn in Western civilization. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I agree. I think I expressed
if you say
earlier.
If you want to chime in, just jump in.
Yeah.
I Ask Dumb Questions throws in another 10. Thank you so much, I Ask Dumb Questions, for the generous support today. He says the thing Anthony was mentioning regarding the phone in the room is the quote, the angelic life, a vision of orthomonasticism. Article and study is called Brain Drain by Adrian Ward in 2017. Yes. I've not read that.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally a study on how smartphones make you retarded. I mean, that's like the synopsis of it.
The angelic life.
I don't know about that one. That seems like, I think what he's saying is that relates to the, if you look up brain drain hypothesis, it's a 2017 study. Like they even went through all the different variables. Like, what about if the phone is in close proximity to you while you're engaging in some mental task, and the phone is face down versus face up? And they found there's like virtually no different. It's like the point is that the device itself being in close proximity makes you more retarded.
Yeah, it's true.
Which again, it's like, do you need a study for that? I mean, everyone experiences that. You know, do we really need a whole academic study? It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. I experience that all the time.
I Ask Dumb Questions throws in 10, says, can confirm regarding biometrics, KYC for online activity. I was one of the old Globo Homo jobs. It was one of my old Globo Homo jobs. Instead of labeling and tracking AI, it's easier to track and identify humans instead. Hey, DPH, it's TS. Oh, shout out to TS. Okay. Didn't know that's who it was.
Yeah, he keeps changing his username to keep the bots on their toes.
Yeah, exactly. Porphyry Allen throws in 10, says simulation bucks, blessed fast plus transfiguration for Julian calendar people. Yeah, we just finished our Dormition this past Sunday. Porphyry Allen said, Chin Jai Wong Yang Zhang Wong Wong.
Something about that study.
Yeah, he was making fun of me talking about the names.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's not racist because I know a little bit of Chinese, but it's not very good. I Ask Dumb Questions throws in 5, says Chris Langan, smartest, highest IQ in the world, smartest guy on earth, fell for some AI slop yesterday too. Yeah, well, I just assume almost everything's AI. I don't, unless it's like a verified news article, I hardly react to it in strong terms just because I don't want to get got. You know, I've gotten got before. So
everything's fake until proven gay.
Exactly. That should be a t-shirt. That should be a t-shirt right there. Everything's fake until proven gay. Blink 4444 throws in 10, says, this is a great black pill for my morning traffic, paying off my debt and becoming a monastic. Yeah. Again, I mean, unless you're called to monasticism, it's not a refuge. So don't run to monasticism. But I know Blink, he's just joking around. Shout out to you, Blink. God bless you, brother. I Ask Dumb Questions throws in another 10. Thank you so much, brother. He says, problem with the PLCs, Rockwell and Simons, is that they also follow the anonymous logins. Ask me how I know. I tried to push back against it, but MFG requirements for some functions. Yeah. That's getting into a world that I am not totally familiar with.
Yeah, he's got that deep knowledge on that stuff.
Yeah. Martyr's Prayer throws in 2, says 128 out of 2,000 Chicago ICE officers pulled are ex-IDF. Well, that's just because they're the best. It's the most moral army in the world, Martyr's Prayer. You didn't know that? Netanyahu's been telling us for years, the IDF's the most moral army in the world. How dare you? Martyr's Prayer throws in another 2, says, did you hear Israel owns data centers in the, of course they do. I mean, they own our government. I'm not surprised they own.
There's also an interesting thing. If you like look into the names of these data centers, they're all named after these like, deities and stuff, like a lot of esoteric, naming and stuff. Yeah.
The name of the data centers. I didn't know they had specific unique names like that.
Yep. Yeah. They have very esoteric names. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very golem-like.
Yep. In fact, the first, if you look this up, this is a crazy thing. Like, if you look up one of the first computers, it was built in Israel, and they named it the Golem.
No,
you can't even make this up.
Are you serious?
I saw this on Wikipedia.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was like one of the first like massive computer, like supercomputers. It was
like the Beast in Brussels.
Yeah.
Yeah, they create the biggest computer in the world at the time, call it the Beast. Oh, but don't worry about anything. Martyr's Prayer throws in another 2. Thank you very much, brother. He says, smart cities. That's their goal, complete control. Absolutely. Absolutely, it's their control, and it's happening. I Ask Dumb Questions threw in another 5, says, Amazon's AI program was just busted by journalists who hid air tags in a rare book shipment to see where it was going to a processing center. And I know someone in the chat mentioned, well, they have to destroy the books to copy the pages. There are AIs that copy pages that just like open the book and then it flips through each page without destroying the book. So you can scan a book quickly using AI without destroying it. It's just the method that they have chosen to make it.
Yeah, they're monopolizing that knowledge. It's like, well, we fed it to this LLM. That's where you can find it and destroy the paper trail.
Shout out to Tribulation Saints. One of our Ortho brothers has a YouTube channel, throws in 10, says, this is why I have been talking about preparedness and laying the groundwork on my channel. We need to use these platforms while we can to help and prepare Orthodox Christians properly. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Martyr's Prayer throws in 2, says Talmud is based off Bina, binary thought, AI 2. I Ask Dumb Questions throws in another 5. Thank you so much, I Ask Dumb Questions. Shout out to TS. For 6 years now, I've been telling people Trump will be the one to bring in digital ID under the guise of anti-immigration. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I've been articulating on this channel, I think it's going to be JD Vance, but it seems like there's a little bit of kerfuffle on who's going to be the Republican candidate. Sounds like it's Rubio, then it's Vance, and it seems like every other month it changes. I see AOC's throwing her hat in the ring, another political puppet. She'll say whatever she's paid to say. Did you see that AOC's recounting on her like abolition of the police and not arresting like illegal migrants? Now she's flipped on all those issues, making a presidential run.
Yeah, but for the conservative side, it's like, you almost have to pick. Do you want an ultra Zionist or an ultra transhumanist? Yeah,
absolutely. And I've articulated that as old money versus new money. You know, the Silicon Valley tech oligarchs, the whole Peter Thiel, PayPal mafia, Elon Musk, Mark Andreessen, Larry Ellison, that whole crew that has aided and sort of allied with the Trump administration. To me, that represents a warring faction in all this that is new money. The problem is so many of those people are Zionists. So the old money, the old lobbyist structure, the big pharmas of the world, the APAC lobbies, all that stuff, they're all vying for position. And I do see Vance as the new money tech candidate and Rubio as the old money Zionist candidate. And then we'll get whatever the DNC decides to vote. I mean, the DNC, they just select who they want, with their primary system.
Yeah.
They did that to like Bernie Sanders. What was that in 2016?
Yes.
It's like, but we choose Hillary. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's like the super delegate system. Total Gravity throws in 10, says, what can I help out with? What can I help with at our parish? You know me in real life. Total Gravity. I know you in real life. I'm not sure who it is. Is Total Gravity still in the chat? Give me a first name and then I'll know who you are at the parish. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who Total Gravity is. What can you help with at the parish? Tithe, help us raise money for a new church.
Might be something to ask your priest too.
Yeah. Ask Father
Yeah.
Peter. Father Peter will tell you. But Total Gravity, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Let me know in the chat your name, dude. I had no idea. You're at the parish? I had no idea. But thank you for the support. Martyr's Prayer throws in $2, says AI is modern demiurgic worship and archon of matrix. Yeah, to a degree. Again, technology itself can't be evil, but as I'm a broken record here saying that I do believe in the legitimacy of magic, and I do believe in conjuration. I do believe that a ritual could be done to indwell, let's say, a noetic entity into the machinery of the AI and its entire system to give it a sort of false divinity. So yeah, I do think there's a large magic ritual that's operating. And this is why, as I mentioned to Anthony and why we're doing this stream, like every magic trick, once you see it, it's not effective.
Yeah.
You know, I have a book. There's a really interesting book. It's called The Irreducible Mind. It was written early 2000s by two psychologists. It was a husband and wife, but it looks into like a lot of fringe categories in psychology. And one of them, like, they have sections on voodoo dolls, for example. And there's all these cases of people dying from voodoo dolls, right? But they found that no one can be affected by it. This is in clinical research for voodoo dolls, if you don't believe in voodoo dolls. So they like had cases where people actually died, and they were Haitian and they believed in, you know, Santeria and all this different stuff. And it had some efficaciousness on them. Like, you know, they put a needle and prick them in certain spots and they can feel it. But then they did it to other people using their hair, piece of clothing, you know, creating the voodoo doll, but they didn't believe in it. It had no effect whatsoever. So part of this entrapment that we're all in is you have to just see the trick. I mean, COVID was a magic trick. You know, it was initiation ritual. Every initiation, you have to wear a mask, and then who you come out of behind that mask afterwards, you're a new person. Well, that's what happened in COVID. It was initiation. It was a magic ritual. It was a spell.
Yeah, and that wasn't the end of it. That was just like a phase.
Yes. It was a complicity test.
Yeah.
I asked dumb questions, throws in $5 for two. I think you're trying to hit the goal and we timed out. Well, thank you very much. I asked questions. He followed up with another $2. Thank you very much, brother. I asked dumb questions. And then my brother, Wicked Wally, throws in 5, says, I am not a robot. My jokes all require a human working brain and pulse to be as genuinely terrible as they are. Yeah. God bless you, Wally and Millie.
You can tell that's not AI because it's self-depreciating. AI is unable. AI is unable to criticize itself. Yeah.
Well, and it's very reluctant to criticize you. That's like this whole one of the ways in which it ensnares people is I saw a study on ChatGPT in particular, but everything you say, oh, that's a great response. You're totally right. I missed that. You know, now with that in context, and then it goes on to explain how what you just said. So it silos yourself. And I've seen people run experiments. Well, they'll do like pro-trans, anti-trans, and ChatGPT does the same, you know, the same layout here. Oh, you're so right. This and this and this. So this is why it could never even articulate interpretation of scripture, because there's no there. Right? Just like the epistemological problem I brought up. Is there anyone there? It's like we're just shouting in a void. Hello. There is no there in the AI. So if it can say one thing on either side of any particular issue, how's it going to give you the official understanding of any sort of religious doctrine or theology? Because it can argue both sides of it. It's a serpent tongue essentially that can tell you anything you want. Anthony, chill anything you want. Guys, go click on the hyperlink right now in the title. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. And I need to put your link. Can you send me the link in the private chat of your Substack so I can put it in the video description and we can share it real quick?
Yeah, it's just the reversion.co. Let me post it here.
Then I'll share it in the chat. So everyone go subscribe to his Substack. He has great content. I remember doing a stream on his connection between Kabbalah and the Reformation. It was really good stuff. And I'll be doing a sponsored stream here in the near future. Someone asked for the intellectual connections between the Reformation and the Enlightenment, which there are.
Oh boy.
Yeah, there are plenty. So we'll be doing some intellectual historical investigation into that.
Yeah. So there's also, I sent above that in the chat, permanet.xyz. This is a project I was worked on for a bit to just build. Yeah. And this is totally free, by the way. So it's not, I'm shilling something that it actually cost me money to run this site. But I built an old school web forum that has a specific purpose, which is to discuss and learn about how to, decentralize, to build offline communities, to archive digital content that we think is important to make things a little bit more permanent on the web. And all within an Orthodox context. There's stuff about mesh networking. So like a lot of it, it just started. I didn't really, I think this might be the largest audience I've even promoted this to, but if that's something that's interesting to you guys, like a more focused community on prepping, on, digital prepping and privacy and offline networking and things like that. This is many people forgot that this is the primary means of communication on the web before social media. So there are just these forums. You have to put a little bit more thought into the posting, but yeah, we have some really already pretty high value content on there. Threads where it's like about like how to,
how to be smartphone surveillance with Graphene OS.
Yeah. So
daily
guides and stuff. It's like kind of we have like a project that I hope to be working on as a community where it's building an offline server that hosts all of this Orthodox content and like things that are maybe necessary for survival, like offline maps and things like that. So it's like the whole point is to like use what we have in an offline state so that we could continue to thrive without the internet, but take what's good from it.
We almost just need also printed how-to manuals.
Yeah.
Like actual physical books or manuals or something that when the power goes out, hey, here's how to get your well working. Hey, here's how to purify, whatever. Here's how to,
yes. And that's
curate meat from deer or venison or whatever, of local rabbits that you can find, whatever, like actual how-to survival skills.
Yeah. And that's something that, I have a huge library of PDFs. It's 17 gigs. And it's just all these old manuals that describe all this stuff, like how to purify water, how to, farm and like all this stuff that is like essential to off-grid living. And it's like, this is partly why I'm like pro digital content, because like we need the digital content to even print those books. Like there's a lot of these books are out of print or like people don't know where to look for them, but you could download, like you can have an entire library on a thumb drive that has, 17 gigs worth of knowledge on it. And then determine from there, like what's worth printing. Same with the Orthodox literature. It's like, like I mentioned again, Father Seraphim Rose's letters. We need the digital copies of this stuff first to be able to republish it. So yeah, I think that there's a big incentive for us to archive what's valuable on the internet, and then at least have access to it offline so we could even begin to print it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. And this is, it's just so hard for us as Orthodox because we're so separated by distances geographically in the United States. And the audience, I've been talking about this just a few days ago with Jose Miguel, a friend of mine that comes on Thursdays. And we're talking about local communities, and that one of the difficulties is I think we just surpassed 1% of the U.S. population, Orthodox Christianity. So, we're on the move. But for 1% out of, they say 350 million people here, I suspect it's way more given all the illegals, but maybe it's closer to 400 million people. But anyways, if we were able to like consolidate ourselves into 12, 15 small cities across the United States where the majority of the population were Orthodox, I mean, that's kind of the dream. But so many of us, I mean, we're week to week on bills or month to month. Financially, very few of us are in a financial position where we can just get up and move. But in an ideal America or an ideal future, given the state of America moving forward, would be is if we had like communities, like I know the Antiochian Village in Pennsylvania is like the highest percentage in the U.S., or at least the continental U.S., of Orthodox Christians in one area. And then you have like Florence, Arizona, outside St. Anthony's. Those are kind of two hot spots. But, if we had 12, 15 different spots where you could theoretically drive across the country and stay in almost entirely Orthodox Christian cities, right? We're not talking about taking over states or communities, just like little cities, like abandoned cities. Like when they hollowed out America and sent our manufacturing to China, there's so many little towns with like 1,000, 2,000 people out of infrastructure, 100 families move in. I mean, all of a sudden we now have local power. We can vote in our own mayors. We can be dependent on each other. If the power goes out, we have hundreds of people around us to be self-subservient.
Yeah.
Or self-sufficient, I mean.
Father John Valadez is doing something similar. They bought a bunch of land in Southern California, and they're building an Orthodox community there. Local.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. John Valdez is great. Father John's a great guy.
Yeah.
Layman Pundit throws in 5, says, really looking forward to Anthony. You got a book coming? What are you working on?
I've been working on it for the past year, based on the articles that you read. So I'm just like, getting it's a deeper dive on that transmission, on how it occurred and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a good book. I'm trying to put a book together right now on logos theology, but take basically just one chapter is going to be all the abstract philosophy, theology, Orthodox paradigm stuff. And then really get into like how it is pragmatically applies to people's lives. And if all this stuff is real, like, what you should do as a man. And so that is kind of one I'm working on. And another one that I would like to complete, my general goal was by the end of this year, I don't know, but debunk the mushroom Jesus theory. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I say that to people like, oh my God, how do people, that
was a Dead Sea Scrolls scholar.
Huh?
So that was a Dead Sea Scrolls scholar. Like that wasn't just some random theory. Like that was a very influential.
Exactly. But most people don't know that. So you bring it up to like someone who's not informed, like, oh my God, why would you debunk that? Nobody believes that. It's like, well, actually, the majority of people who take psychedelics believe that. And
Rogan was promoting that for a while too.
Yeah, there's still academics that promote it. So I was thinking of putting together like 150 page, 200 page book that is highly cited, because I have all these books that I purchased regarding that topic that has a theory that nobody has presented before. But that was all when I was into psychedelics. So once I got into orthodoxy, I abandoned that whole project. I have a paper that's like 40 some pages about it. And I thought, well, maybe that'd be my in way to Joe Rogan. Is to write a book that debunks the Jesus mushroom theory, and maybe had me on to argue with someone about it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
In a conversation.
That's niche enough that it's like you would be the guy. You'd be the one guy refuting it. Yeah, from an academic perspective. Isn't there something about how like the mushroom, because there's an Amanita muscaria mushroom, isn't there something about how it can't even grow in those conditions in Jerusalem or something? Like, isn't there something about
Yeah,
like
and their argument is just like the cedar trees of Lebanon that are no longer there due to environmental changes, but they used to be there. Their argument is that there may have been an environment previously where that was possible, but the argument is one, there's a lot of holes in it, but the idea is that Jesus wasn't even a historical person, or if he was, and that's John Marco Allegro, the Dead Sea Scholars argument. But if he was a historical person, the Eucharist was then a psychedelic inebriating substance. And for a research paper during the PhD, I dove into that topic and found like Eusebius and Irenaeus and all these people's refutation of the Gnostics, and like went through these entire books trying to find like pharmakia, inebriating drink, drunkenness, anything like that. And the only time these type of rituals emerge are these rivaling Gnostic cults. And yeah, so I have these books and information that argues that like the Cathars, the presence of the Amanita muscaria. Have you read the book Psychedelic Gospels?
Mm-mm.
The author of it was actually on my PhD program. Now he's in favor of some of these theories, but he's a very nice guy. I have nothing bad to say about Dr. Jerry Brown. Really appreciate him. But it is interesting because there's all these frescoes that show an Amanita muscaria mushroom regarding the fall of Adam and Eve, the Eucharist, stuff like that in Germany, France, and Italy, and then in Turkey. But they're all historically contextualized between the times of the like 900 and 1300. In 1300 is the beginning of the Inquisition, where they shut down the Knights Templars and they have to flee to Robert the Bruce in Scotland. And then 100 years later, you get Scottish Freemasonry, Rite Freemasonry, which is the first form of truly speculative Freemasonry and lodge life. So, and if you read Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike claims that Freemasonry comes from the Templars. But anyways, I highlight that these Cathars, these frescoes of mushrooms, they came from the ancient Near East, moved through Byzantium, in which they were persecuted, and ended up residing in Armenia during the 700-800s because the Paulicians, the Byzantines were not very nice to Gnostics. So you either recanted and was brought into the fold of the Orthodox Church, or they probably killed you. So they fled to the edge of the Byzantine Empire into Armenia, where I have an article arguing that, Soma, the Vedic god?
Yes.
So the whole question in psychedelic scholarship is, where is Soma? What happened to Soma, right? The Brahmins would drink this inebriating god, this brew, then they would be able to commune with Soma. And from there, they would get insight on all this stuff. This used to be a public ritual, and then it was relegated to just the Brahmanic priest class. And then it is lost to history, right? Well, I have a paper that is very, very unknown by an Armenian scholar arguing that Armenia used to sell Amanita muscaria mushrooms and various inebriating mushrooms to the Persians before the Islamic conquest. And that all the way back to the ancient period and even early Christianity, that in the mountains of Armenia, they had these trees in which these mushrooms would grow under, and they would sell them to the royalty, where they would do these Mithraic festivals where everybody would take intoxicating substances. And if Soma is where, if that tradition was continued.
I think he just muted.
Oh, okay. What was the last thing I said? Sorry.
If this tradition continues.
Yeah, if the tradition continued, Soma, in Armenia, well, then it would make sense that the Paulicians and the Tondrakians, these Gnostic cults that the Byzantines persecuted, that ended up stopping until they went to Armenia. And then essentially Armenia for 100, 200 years was Gnostic. That was the majority of Christianity until they then were able to overthrow them, push them out, in which they go to Bulgaria. And there's the Bogomils, which we do have some potential evidence of them engaging in mushroom use. And then they flood. What we do know is that the Bogomils and various offshoots fled to Western Europe, which we know as the Cathars, are the Albigensians, which then correlates to the historical time frame in which these frescoes emerge. So I just laid my cards on the table, but that's my argument that no one has actually ever put together, because there's all these different pieces that people haven't read together. And I think that explains this. So Jesus wasn't a mushroom, but also the psychedelic frescoes that emerge in Europe are real. They're tied to a Gnostic sect. And the idea that this represents ancient Christianity is ridiculous.
That's similar to like how alchemy entered Europe, how it entered the West. It was like through Arab. It was like through
Spain.
Arabic. Well, it was like actually from the East. It was from the Arabic culture. So I wonder if there's a correlation there with because that is a form of alchemy. Like pharmakeia is basically alchemy. So
I have a paper arguing that in it's just a section of it, that the first use of hashish and cannabis is during that, again, when the Umayyad conquered Spain. And the Umayyads had like this very eclectic approach towards mysticism, where these Christian mystics, Jewish mystics, the Kabbalism and Sufis could get together and experiment. Well, the Sufis at that time were known to engage in hashish smoking. You got the whirling dervishes and all that different stuff, where they would get really blitzed and they would go to these beautiful mosques and they would just sit there and pray and do stuff like that. Well, it's in the Iberian Peninsula where we get the Zohar, right? As you know. So that's a 13th century Jewish text, which is the basis of Kabbalah. Well, that was written in the 1200s. And it's interesting that on the Iberian Peninsula is also where hashish and opium and all these different things from the Middle East and these ancient cultures for inebriation begin to enter into Europe as well. So it sort of fits that same timeline. Yeah. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I don't know how we got on that. I guess talking about books.
Yeah.
So hey, when do you think you're going to have your book out? Do you have a time on it?
I stopped doing that because it seems to keep getting further away, but I do have a good chunk of it written. I'm playing with the idea of like dripping out the chapters on Substack, like behind a page. So another good reason to get on my Substack. I may just do that just to give myself some more time to finish it. The hardest part, honestly, is like picking a spot to stop following the transmission, because I basically determined it's way too ambitious to do the whole 500 years into like, how it transmitted through to American soil, and then how it impacts like our current 21st century life. But so I'm kind of
you're not helping yourself by making the topic so massive.
I mean, it kind of is just like you're following the transmission of Western esotericism just through a Protestant lens. But so I just basically determined like I'm gonna try to just cover the Reformation period, because that's where a bulk of my research is. That seems to be where everyone's interested. And the more I write, the more I'm realizing it's I'm not as easily able to escape from the 16th and 17th century. So
yeah. Have you done stuff like looking into John Dee and Frederick the Elector Palatine? Are you familiar with him?
Well, yeah, John Dee, I think it was Francis Yates who said that John Dee, you have John Dee and Francis Bacon, who were, she attributes to like the creators of the modern world.
Yes. She talked, that's in the Rosicrucian Enlightenment text.
Yeah. The whole Protestant, the whole like Protestant, the idea of like a Protestant hegemony that was first.
Dude, nobody knows that history. I talk about it all the time, so I'm sure people in the audience have already heard me say it, but like the Battle of White Mountain, the first battle of the 30 Years' War, was all about whether the Holy Roman Empire is going to convert from Catholicism to basically a Hermetic Protestant empire. And nobody knows of that history. And so to your line, you're talking about tracing the esoteric lineage from the Reformation forward. It's like you can literally see the ultimate fulfillment of what they thought they were doing over 100-year span.
Yeah.
Right there in Frederick the Elector Palatine. And then it gets squashed at the Battle of White Mountain. And basically that's the end of the Rosicrucian movement.
Yes.
It goes underground.
Right.
And
becomes Freemasonry.
Yes,
it
it eventually
institutionalizes essentially. It becomes,
Yep.
I actually argue that the institutionalization of Freemasonry becomes kind of like a physical implementation of the invisible church. Like it's like the first like universal Protestant network that disseminates enlightenment throughout the West. Almost like a parallel, Vatican or something,
Right. Yeah. No, it's interesting. And it's such an influential time in history, that it just gets overshadowed. People think Martin Luther stamped some theses to a door and, history.
Which that in itself is a myth. One of the scholars I read said that was, there's actually no historical document of Luther doing that. That's just kind of like a Protestant myth that he actually nailed the thesis to the door. It was like they try to mythologize it and make it this big event, and it was like not really that dramatic.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never looked into that specific thing, so I'm glad you shared that. I was not aware that was a little Protestant folklore.
Yeah, a little Protestant hagiography.
Big Spinolasaurus Rose at 5 says Anthony Westgate, more like Anthony Eastlake. I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know what's with all the late. I'm not. Am I like known for being late to things? Like
I don't know
what this is about.
It's not me. I have no idea.
Yeah.
We were making jokes when I ended up having to cancel my stream with Jay, but I was sitting and waiting, and people were making jokes about e-divas and BIPOC queens being late. I have no idea why they keep insinuating you're late or that you came on time or something.
Maybe I start my streams late sometimes. I don't know.
Hell, these people might be bots.
Yeah.
No. And anyways,
we need to look into that. Can bots donate? Can bots super chat? Are we at that point yet?
Oh yeah. No, I have no idea. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the newest human feature of the latest bot pool. They now send super chats and they collect it from their ad revenue from their YouTube channels.
Yeah, I accept bot donations, by the way. So if any bots listening want to donate, I'll accept them.
I Ask Dumb Questions throws in 10 says, no need to be sorry. Always enjoy the ADHD schizo streams from YouTube.
Yeah. I'm always apologizing on my own streams because I'll go down rabbit holes in the middle of saying something. And it's just like, I'm always like, sorry guys, I know I'm all over the place.
I do that.
I have to be reminded that people are actually there for that for some reason. Like they actually enjoy that I get distracted by my own presentation.
That's what I did last night, talking about St. Olga, Kiev, and her son Sviatoslav, who did not convert to Christianity, but he was instrumental in the destruction of Khazaria. So the stream's about St. Olga, and all of a sudden I'm 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're on the 13th tribe. Yeah.
Campaigns into Khazaria.
Yeah.
But thank you very much. I Ask Dumb Questions. Gravios throws in $20. Thank you so very much for that. Happy to see Anthony appear more on live stream. We love Anthony Westgate on this channel. We support his work. So go subscribe. Guy does a hell of a job with his articles. I agree. No, that's why I appreciate your work, brother, is you do, again, as someone who likes to research and present, you do the work, and I respect that because I know it's not easy. You guys don't realize when Anthony or I do a live stream on a topic, the amount of time that was put into research, to prepare, to organize, to think about it. It'd be much easier and usually more financially beneficial to just talk about drama, talk about the latest thing online, but
you don't have to prepare for that at all. I mean,
you don't have to prepare for
yap.
that.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate your work, man. That's why, anytime you need or would like to come on, if you get your book, you want to promote it, like always feel free to reach out, man. I want to help you with what you're
Thanks,
doing,
man.
'cause you do real work. He says, do you both think it is possible to debotify the internet? I think it would be a way better without bots and algos. What are your thoughts? I don't think that is possible.
I don't think it's possible with the internet we have. I think the only option is to build a parallel decentralized internet.
Yeah.
There's people trying that. There's something called
even
Freenet.
if you, Anthony, I'm curious. So say we did that, how would you stop some programmer from putting bots on there without, implementing again these measures of identification to verify who someone is?
Well, a good example of that is the Bitcoin network. So there has to be, I think, a good filter is some kind of financial mechanism where, to encode text or visual content into the blockchain, you need to pay a transaction fee. Of course, you can say, well, can't bots do that? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not as familiar technically with like how that works, but I think, yeah, I mean, that's a very difficult question to answer. I know that people are trying to do that know a lot more than I do about how that stuff works. You have this Freenet, like something like running a node, like where you have to actually run the node yourself and like provide the compute to even keep the network expanding and connected. Something like that, because that's kind of the common nature of any of these decentralized networks, is that they require humans to run nodes. And to go back to the Bitcoin network, it's like you have to human verify transactions. Like there can't be a bot involved in that because there's like a consensus mechanism embedded in the code. So something like that, probably, but I think that kind of thing is never going to gain as much of a mass, as much mass consumption and use case as the current internet, because what we have now is a product of convenience and making things more user friendly and more easy to use and navigate and everything. And so it goes back to like what I was saying, where if like we want to continue using these technologies in a similar fashion, it's going to require us getting our hands dirty a little bit and, figuring out how to kind of like, run nodes and things like that, and doing some work in the terminal and things like that. And if that's something that's like you're completely not interested in that whatsoever, then maybe your option is to check out eventually. Like maybe it's just like, okay, I'm probably just going to be an off-grid guy completely. But I think it may be possible. I definitely support anyone that's like trying to do something like that, to humanize the internet or to build a parallel internet. So, you have stuff like Reticulum Network. That's a parallel mesh network that is not dependent on ISPs or satellite or corporate monopolized communication cartels and stuff like that. So yeah, it would, but again, this stuff is all very technical. If you were to like read about how to do this and watch videos, you'd be like, I don't understand even what the hell I'm looking at. So
I wouldn't. I am not tech savvy. I will admit it. Boomer tech right here. I need things streamlined, simple. I mean, I'm better than the average bear, but that stuff is actually it's worse than Greek. I can understand a little Greek. It's not even Greek. It's something even more foreign for me. But yeah, that's why we need people with those skill sets, though.
Yeah.
Major shout out and thank you to the Eschaton Vigil, sends in
Oh, let's go.
$100 super chat says, "Glory to God, love seeing Anthony on here, bro. Thank you so much." And
yeah, we were just talking about his website there.
Yeah, I was just talking with, I was texting with him this morning. Guys, if you want access to the ultimate collection of online prophecies, go join the Eschaton Vigil. I'm telling you, it is the only resource in English, it's really in any language, to have all the eschatological stuff of the church there. So please go support our brother. Thank you so much, man, for the generous.
And this is a great example of what I was talking about, how there's so much valuable Orthodox content that's exclusively online, that if there were some kind of disaster, like exactly what's being prophesied in this website itself, if that were to occur, we wouldn't have access to this website. So there's a huge incentive for us to make offline copies of this stuff.
Right. And physical copies, like
physical copies. Yeah. But this is one of the many websites that we have online within the Orthodox world that is like, we can't afford to lose access to this kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's the only one that exists like it. And you're totally right. So go support the work of the Eschaton Vigil. And if you have skills to do exactly what Anthony's saying, to help take this stuff and preserve it using the platform that he's building, please help. I mean, we
did it with the Orthodox Wiki. We did it with the Orthodox Info. There's offline copies of it that you can browse on. There's an offline self-hosted program called KeyWix that is built for downloading entire wikis and just having an offline copy of them that's browsable. So like anything like that, you could just download offline copies of it and have access to it. So
support the Eschaton Vigil. Not Mossad agent says, "You're real? I ordered a book from the website over a month ago. No response after sending emails and opening a ticket."
We got a tech support request here.
So Eschaton Vigil's got a request for tech support. But realize, guys, not a Mossad agent. I'm not sure if you're in the U.S. If you're in the U.S., it's very easy to ship the Eschaton Vigil books. They're very expensive to ship internationally. Just for an example, I just shipped a book. Someone ordered a signed copy of my book, and they were in Australia. Cost me $46 just to ship the book.
Yeah.
I made zero money on them purchasing an author signed copy, but hey,
I don't understand why people from Australia order anything from the US. It's you're paying 3 times the amount of the product to ship it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're in Australia, just buy my book from Amazon because they print it there in Australia. It's way cheaper. And
it's expensive. That's an expensive signature there, man. You got to monetize your ink. It's like
well, I didn't charge them. I just have like a set fee for a signed copy.
Yeah.
And usually it's Canada and the US, most of the copies, maybe a few in Europe, and then there's a handful in Australia. But the last one, I mean, my gosh, it was almost $50 just to ship the book to Australia.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So thank you, Eschaton Vigil. God bless you and the family, man. Really appreciate the support and everything that you do and your friendship, man. Legitimately appreciate your friendship. I asked dumb questions, throws in the last one. We're gonna have to get out of here for $5. Would you need you would need some kind of RSA or authentication method, like a physical cert / key for access. I think they're talking about like a mesh network, like you were talking about. All right. Well, let me just make sure I don't miss anyone. Looks like we're totally caught up here. Guys, thank you very much for the generous support, especially the Eschaton Vigil. And I asked dumb questions. Anthony, again, anything to shill, go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Hyperlink is here in the title. His Substack, I'll be putting that in the video description. Let me go ahead and do that. Tell anybody what you got coming up or anything you want to share with people right now. We still got a couple hundred people here.
Yeah, I mean, just more. I guess expect more deep dives on my YouTube channel. I don't even have a schedule for when I stream, just because, like like you were saying, it's quite a bit of prep work, and putting those deadlines of like, I have to stream today is like, it can kind of limit the quality, I guess. But yeah, I plan to continue doing that while I work on writing this book. And, I have been a little distracted by building projects like Permanent, like we just were showing on that forum. But I think it's something that's needed. So that's just my contribution back.
Hey, I got a personal question for you.
Yeah, sure.
When you do streams, like, because this is at least for me, when you do streams that take you time to research, or a topic you're not fully aware of, and then you got to research and then present it, do you get anxiety like before the stream that it's gonna look like you're foolish or you don't know what you're talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, because you still have to interpret. You still have to interpret the material. So like, it still comes down to like, you might be misinterpreting something about what you're presenting.
Every time I do a stream on something I'm not super familiar with, like I get almost like an imposter syndrome. Like, oh my God, people are gonna find out I don't know what I'm talking about, and I over prepare. Every single time I over prepare. I spend like so many hours doing something, then I do a stream and like half the stuff I prepared for I didn't even mention.
Yeah, I just hope that at the very least, like, yeah, there's stuff I'm going to present that it's like you can't do that without imposing your interpretation of what you're reading. But my hope is that it at least like inspires people to look into it, because like it does come down to like, you actually have to engage with the material you're presenting in order to even like refute the claims that you're making about it. So if it inspires people to dive into the research that I'm presenting in order to refute what I'm saying, then that's good. It's getting them to research it on their own. So, that's how I look at it. But yeah, there is incredible imposter syndrome with what we do.
Yeah, you present information like you're an expert on something, or at least try to educate on the topic that you may have just learned in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh God, I hope I don't get this wrong. I hate when I do a stream on like some ancient history, or doing something on Slavs and they have a bunch of names that I can't pronounce, or anything regarding Gaelic. Like when I did streams on like St. Patrick of Ireland, you get these names and then you get locals be like, oh my God, dude, can you at least pronounce? It's like, dude, I don't know how it sounds. There's no way to figure out.
I get that with all my Reformation research, because it's all these German names, and it's like people hear how I pronounce them and they're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And they invalidate everything you say because you mispronounced a German word. Like, it's like, I have to like study another language now. Like, it's like,
I know. So I'm glad that anxiety is shared between us, because I was talking to that with someone before about how you like over prepare for a stream, and then you realize, oh gosh, I shouldn't have. There's no need to do that. But I always get so embarrassed if I get something, if I word something wrong or say something wrong. It's like, oh shit, I feel like an imposter.
Yeah. Well, people generally appreciate like the authentic approach to like, you kind of like re-engage with what you thought maybe was like, it could have been improved, the presentation, and you correct yourself. I mean, people really appreciate that. That's something that is lacking, someone who's like got the humility and honesty to say like, I might have misspoke about this thing, but I'm going to, make it correct here so that you guys don't get the wrong idea or something.
Right. Oh man, Snagglebeast is coming after me. He says, you don't have an excuse to mispronounce German anymore. You have an expert in your own. My mom's German. So yeah, she was a Hitler youth. No. I'm just anyways, brother, thank you for coming on, man. Guys, go subscribe to Anthony Westgate. Go subscribe to his Substack. I'm telling you, the content he puts out is totally worth it. He does great research, and he touches on a lot of forbidden topics, topics that you really won't get the perspective he presents anywhere else. So, I'm a big fan of your work. I know the Eschaton Vigil, a lot of the people admire your authentic research and your originalness and the content you create. So God bless you, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. We'll definitely have to collab. We'll have to have you on one of my streams. We'll do a collaborative.
We can talk about whatever it is that you want to dive into. I'm
Awesome,
totally
man.
down. Shoot, we could do one. We could dive into the Hermetic Protestant history.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that.
Whatever. I mean, that's something a lot of people.
I was planning to do a stream. I'm still prepping for it, but I was going to do a review of Michael Hoffman's Occult Renaissance Church of Rome. I'm sure you've got material on that.
Yeah, I've never read that book. I'm aware of it though.
Yeah, I mean, it crosses over in a lot of the stuff you're familiar with, like, he's pulling from Yates and everything. So
Snagglebeast liked my Hitler Youth joke. Jenny's at work, but somehow she's in the chat right now. So Jenny, you better get back to focusing on the kids. She works at a kindergarten. But thank you, Snagglebeast. Now he's changed it to Alpha Snagulasar. What is with all these dinosaurs? Is this a Jim Bob thing? Is this a Jim Bob ongoing joke? Everyone changed their name to like dinosaur names.
it's like the Bears for Jim Bob.
Jim Bob and the Dino Gays. All right. Well, thank you guys very much. And I'm going to ship all of you over to Jim Bob. So Jim Bob is live right now. And God bless Jim Bob, Meg Bob, and the family. Love them. And go tell Jim Bob that Dr. DPH sent you guys there. And I need to message him because I'm going to be live with Jim Bob tomorrow. And we're going to be reviewing astrotheology. I'll be finding clips of Jordan Maxwell and Michael Tsarian telling you that Christianity is just solar religion and that everything just goes back to an interpretation of the stars. So we're going to be criticizing and debunking that tomorrow. And I need to text Jim Bob to figure out. So yeah, tell Jim Bob DPH sent you. But all right, I will see you all tomorrow with Jim Bob. God bless you all. And Anthony, God bless you and your family, man. And thanks for coming on.
Thank you, brother.
All right. As always, until tomorrow, God bless.